I'm Doug Brown. Chiefs running back Isaiah Pacheco says he'll be at full strength in time for the season opener against the Lions. Pacheco had off-season shoulder and hand surgeries after leading the team in rushing yards as a rookie. The baseball trade deadline is a week from Tuesday. All eyes on Shohei Ohtani of the Angels. But ESPN's Tim Kurkjian doesn't believe Ohtani will be traded before the deadline.
To me, their only shot of keeping him is to have a great final 2 months, and they just swept the Yankees. Somehow either make the playoffs or get really close and show Ohtani that we are going to be playing in October moving forward.
Tim Kurkjian, the first round of the Open Championship winding down. There's a three-way tie for the lead, including rising Georgia Tech senior Christo Lamprecht. He's 5 under along with Tommy Fleetwood and Emiliano Grillo. Opening day at the Women's World Cup, the two host teams pick up wins. New Zealand surprises Norway with a 1-0 win. Australia beats Ireland 1-0.
If you need solid hires fast, you need Indeed. The all-in-one hiring solution makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates from the same place. Want to find your next great hire? Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride!
And welcome in after further review here on a Thursday, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Musso here, but it'll mainly be Matt. Let's explain how this is going to work, right? So, the event that is SEC Football Media Days, the event is over. The coverage rolls on. So, as we do every year here on Thursday, I will sit in the chair, basically anchor the show, and bring you everything that Matt did earlier today, covering, in this instance, South Carolina, Ole Miss, and Tennessee. So we have a bunch of recorded stuff from Radio Row to play for you over the next 3 hours. I'm here to anchor. Alondra's in my chair. Paul O'Neill, where he normally is, as said off the top of the show there. Today, the final day, Ole Miss got it started. South Carolina was sandwiched in between. In Tennessee, Josh Heupel and his contingent wrapped things up. And that's actually where we're going to start, is with the Tennessee Volunteers. Of course, great season last year, 11-2, winning the Orange Bowl. Now looking to build off of that. Joe Milton taking over at quarterback from Hendon Hooker, replacing Jalen Hyatt and other wide receivers. Matt sat down with Jayson Swain from Josh and Swain up in Knoxville. Here's that interview.
Is it a mirage? It's Jayson Swain in person.
That's right.
Look at this, man.
I'm here.
He came this year.
Yeah, I came.
It's so good to see you, man.
You're the reason why I'm here.
VFL here, Jayson Swain, of course, from Josh and Swain up in Knoxville, a former Vol wide receiver. I'm so glad to see you, man. Like one of my favorite people to talk to, and I feel like even when I don't see you for so long, it doesn't matter. Anytime we talk, it's like you never miss a beat. You know?
That's right.
You're one of those people in life, which is awesome. Why didn't you come to Baton Rouge last year? You missed an opportunity to have like a memory forever.
Well, you have kids, you have things that go on, and it just didn't happen. It just didn't happen. Now, if we played in Baton Rouge, I would be there because, hey, I'm part of the broadcast crew. So that happened mid-season last year.
Come on, man.
Yeah,
what are you doing?
Yeah, silent reporter for Vol Network. So, like, if that would have happened earlier in the season, I would have met up with you, man, Friday night. We would have had a good time.
Swain, dude, I didn't even know you're on the network now, man.
Yeah. So Kentucky of last year was the first year. So I went to perfect timing. Went to Georgia and South Carolina.
You know what, man? But it's so wild because Tennessee had a year last year, and I really want to lean into Tennessee a little bit here because not only did you play, but you played at Tennessee. You played receiver at Tennessee at a time when Tennessee was still, for lack of a better word, Tennessee. You know what I mean? Before some of the lean years came. So, man, to see what was it like did last year feel like exercising a lot of those demons of the last 15 years?
It felt normal because you expected to win every week. As a player, you did. And for the first time as a spectator after playing, I felt like after the Florida game, Tennessee should win every game or have an opportunity to win every game. And that was just a really fun experience all season long. And the thing about this conference is it can be short-lived, and it's not guaranteed. So this year's a whole nother process. But this team is talented. The program's in a good place. And as a former player, man, I'm proud to be a former player because of the good things that's happening on campus.
As much as I hate to ask you this question, I want to ask you this question. Well, no, what was it like watching that LSU game last year? Because remember going into it, it was
football or baseball.
Football.
I know you, man.
No.
Slick. Okay.
I would love to ask you about baseball. We can talk about that first. That would be something I would love to ask you about.
I don't remember that game. Anyways,
but
football.
no, because if I'm not mistaken, LSU was maybe a 1-point favorite or was a pick 'em. I mean, it was basically a virtual pick 'em in that game. And literally from the opening kickoff, everything it was Murphy's Law. Everything that could go wrong for LSU did, and Tennessee was way too good.
You know that a video clip of Vince McMahon when he's in his chair and he's like, oh. He's like, oh. And then before you know it, he's like, oh, my gosh. That was me. The opening kickoff when Tennessee recovered. I was like, oh, the ball's bouncing Tennessee's way. Because, like, the last time Tennessee was there, it was too many men on the football field where you had a chance to win. Like, you kind of beat yourself. So I was like, oh, here's a present. And then Tennessee goes down and scores, and Tennessee's playing good defense. Special teams is good. I'm like, yo, we about to beat LSU at LSU. I did not expect that type of outcome. I knew Tennessee's offense was really, really good, but it's a tough place to play. And the fact that Tennessee fans took over the stadium, that was a big surprise. I hope you got on the fans about that, man. I hope you got on the fans about that on Monday. That's not supposed to happen, Matt.
I don't get on fans about anything, man.
Matt.
I don't get on fans.
Like, well, I understand. You shouldn't. No. It's the players' fault. It's the players and team fault. It's their fault.
Your disposable income, your free time, do with it what you want.
You're right.
You want to come late and leave early? Fine with me.
You should have got on the team for making the fans leave because I've never seen anything like that in Death Valley.
It was wild, man.
Yeah.
He's on Twitter at Swain Event. So the real question, I think, is Tennessee this year, losing Hendon Hooker, losing Jalen Hyatt, are they ready to maintain consistency, or was last year a one-off?
Consistency. Are we talking about competing in the East?
Yeah, I mean,
and being a game away, plays away here and there? I think so.
I mean, Swain, I look at the schedule and I go, there's a real opportunity. If Tennessee can win at Bama, and I think Bama has huge questions. I mean, Tennessee should play a home game against Georgia in late November as either an undefeated or one-loss team to win the East.
I agree.
That's what should be on the line on November the 18th in Knoxville.
I agree. There's not a lot of answers for Josh Heupel's offense. You got to have some dudes like what Kirby has at Georgia, what Nick has at Alabama, and what happened in South Carolina, that was just, hey, Carolina was ready that night, and Tennessee just wasn't, quite frankly, because Carolina played so poorly the week before Florida. You thought you were going to get the same South Carolina team, and you didn't. You got Super Bowl champion-looking team that night. But, yeah, I think Tennessee is ready to kind of maintain that standard of winning each and every week and not going into the Bama game, Georgia game, going, whoo, you think we're going to cover? you think we're going to get close, guys? I mean, if we could just keep it close in the third quarter or the fourth quarter, we'll have a chance. Like, I think those feelings are gone now. It's about expecting to win.
What's going to keep them from doing that?
Injuries are always a key component, right? Quarterback play is going to be very, very important. And Hendon was so great last year. He was so special last year. Had a lot on his plate, but he was able to handle it. Got to stay healthy. I think offensive line, again, is a unit I'm looking at. When you lose a guy like Darnell Wright in the second year of a rebuild, you don't replace dudes like Darnell Wright the next year. When you're at Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, and you've been recruiting top 5 classes for the last 5 to 10 years, you can do that. But that's harder to do, I think, at Tennessee. So who's going to play tackle and play it well and be able to keep Joe clean? And people think Tennessee's offense is all about throwing the ball. It's really not. It's really balanced. Tennessee runs the football. So can you create opportunities running the ball as well? So offensive line, the defensive line, and secondary, like those are the questions for me.
I'm looking at here a year ago, Tennessee was 5th in the country in passing offense, 326 yards a game. They average 199 rush yards a game, average 200 rushing yards a game. So that's there if you need a salt away game. Defensively, is Tennessee Or does it matter because they score so much?
It matters. I think it matters this year because you got to have a lot of things go right for you. I mean, Tennessee was healthy on offense. I mean, extremely healthy. You had some guys beat up on defense there in the secondary, but Tennessee was healthy on offense. And it's just easier on the quarterback to have a defense that is making stops. Like I listened to Nick Saban this week, right? And last year, so much was put on Bryce Young's plate. And just sitting there watching him in Knoxville, I know you probably thought the same thing watching him in Baton Rouge. You was like, this dude is serious. He might be one of the best football players I've seen in a long time. And I know you've watched Joe Burrow, but, like, Bryce Young he's awesome. The best player on the football field in Neyland that night. He was unreal. But there was so much he had to do. And you don't want to put all that pressure on one player. So you want your defense to be better. You want the running game to help out. And you want to get some receivers to make the quarterback's job a little bit easier. And I think that will bode well for Joe Milton in this offense.
He is Jayson Swain, Josh and Swain in Knoxville. And he's on Twitter at Swain Event. And LSU eliminated Tennessee from the College World Series.
It's so good to see you, man. It's so good to see you. I'm just so happy to be here.
What was it like watching Nate Ackenhausen make his first start of the year and just shove 6 innings of shutout ball against that Vol lineup?
He wasn't supposed to do that.
No, I don't think he was supposed to.
He wasn't supposed to do that. I wasn't expecting that. I was like, oh, no Paul Skeens today. Oh, we got a chance. We about to get revenge. Oh yeah. And then I was waiting. I was like, when we gonna score? When is that happening? We gonna score any runs?
The breakthrough never came
Paul
there.
Skeens, they showing him eating sunflower seeds, hanging out.
Hat up on his head, just tipped up, not even considering going in the game.
What's going on? Y'all done got me all excited about baseball, and this is what we gonna do? I spent so much time not watching baseball. You got me excited, and this is what we doing?
What felt worse, watching Nate Ackenhausen shove against Tennessee in the College World Series, or watching Jamarcus go airborne to the pylon?
Jamarcus.
Flying to the pylon.
It was Jamarcus. He had to do that, man. I thought you was happy to see me. It was Jamarcus. But I'll tell you what about the LSU baseball team. I like them. They got so much swag.
I know, right?
Oh, man, they got so much swag. I love watching them. And when Florida beat LSU up pretty good, I was like, oh, yeah, they asking for it. That's disrespectful. That's disrespectful. And when LSU came back and shoved it back in their face, it's like, that's what they get.
It was a lot of fun.
I bet it was.
A lot of fun to watch. Hey, man, you want some purple and gold? I can send it to you. Get you LSU jersey with Swain on the back or something like that?
No, I don't need that. You can send me some of that good food y'all got down there, or maybe some hand grenades, something like that. Why y'all drink all the liquor in Omaha? What's wrong with y'all?
all of it. All of it.
Oh,
man, they do 68,000 jello shots.
Why?
Because you can.
Oh, my God.
See how high you can drive that number up.
Don't you want to at least watch the game? How do you watch the game?
Oh, it's due after the game. All right.
Oh, my gosh. Y'all something else down there.
That's a lot of
Y'all
fun.
something else. I can't wait to get down there.
All right, well, come hang out, Swain. That's Jayson Swain. Follow him on Twitter at Swain Event. Thanks, dude.
See ya.
All right, we're going to grab a quick break, come back, continue coverage from Radio Row with Matt's conversation with the king of college football, Chuck Oliver, next on AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com. Also, I'll remind you again, if you missed it, for everyone who was looking for one of the 88 Reasons to Rally hats, they're in. And so if you got one of them, that sent you an email. So check your email from Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Tell you every day. If you've been in an accident, you've been injured, and it's not your fault, you know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done. Call 888-8888. That's 888-8888. Or go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com. We talk all the time, of course, about all the great things that Gordon does. But aside from that, Gordon Gives, the charitable arm of the firm that I love to tell you about because they do so much good all throughout the year in all of our communities around the state. You can learn more by going to GordonGives.com. GordonGives.com. The latest is a vacation giveaway. It's G's Getaway Giveaway. They're giving away 7 vacations to families. Here's an opportunity to win. Go to GordonGives.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Get 3.99% financing on select 2023 models at Corval Toyota in Opelousas. And we also have a large selection of pre-owned inventory. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And live from the 2023 SEC Football Media Days presented by Hudco Roofing. After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
Take a quick second, remind you about Traction Sports, TractionSports.com. Traction, where champions are made. Hey, remember, next week, you get another week of Traction Summer Baseball Camps. So get to TractionSports.com. If your son, 5 years and older, is interested in baseball, wants to learn the game, or just needs to let some of that energy out during the summer, full and half-day options are available. TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com to register. Always remember as well, Traction Elite Physical Therapy. If you want to get back in the game, Traction can help you do it. Traction Elite Physical Therapy. You choose where you go for physical therapy. Choose the best. Traction Physical Therapy. Go to TractionSports.com. We cannot come to a Radio Row without visiting with the King. Chuck Oliver. Chuck Oliver Show is here. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm blessed. It's been a wonderful 4 days. Now, I've said that this does not matter to the listeners. If we're in Miami or Buffalo, as long as they get to hear who they want to hear from. The setup does matter as far as how many coaches and players and the efficiency of it. And I'm just going to call out my hometown. Everybody loves a home game. SEC Media Days in Atlanta in 2018 was the first time.
18.
It was poor setup.
Yeah.
It was a very, I'll say, inefficient setup for the coaches, which means that translates to they weren't coming over to Radio Row.
Right.
This setup has been A+, which means that everybody who's here covering it, their listeners got a whole lot more access. So A+ to Nashville.
superlatives here on the final day. You generally get every coach at your table. Were there any you didn't?
Funny thing is, like, it was just a weird year. On Tuesday, that was Kirby Day, right? Okay.
Yes.
So I get the two-time national champion. I get Zach Arnett, and Zach Arnett's wonderful, very open. And then whoever the third coach was that day we got, I'm trying to remember who it was. We got everybody but the Vanderbilt coach. I'm like, how do we get all, like, there's 4 coaches. We get 3 of them, but Clark Lee ain't got time. And so that's kind of the year it was. We got Billy Napier. We got Brian.
It was Auburn.
Oh, Hugh Freeze. Gosh, I'm a bad grad. Brian Kelly, do you talk with Brian Kelly much?
Sure.
Okay, here's the thing about Brian Kelly. He's not from the Bayou, and I'm not even going the family thing. That was silliness in the moment. And I mentioned this. He is so comfortable around people, and it is so natural and real. And so I'm talking with Brian Kelly, and a few minutes into it, I'm like, did I cover him before? And then, like, 5 minutes into it, I'm like, did we go to college together? Like, at the end of the interview, I'm like, hell, we were roommates. Like, there's something like we've got history somehow. He is so natural in how he approaches people, and I think that's what won it over because apparently it's just it's been hand in the glove over there.
Winning helps.
Yeah.
Do you think they'll continue that this year?
Yes. I can't get enough LSU. I'm just so transparent about that. And I talk about it all the time on the show that, you know, part of what happened in New Orleans last year against Florida State was Jared Verse took freshman tackle and was like, here's some skates. That's not happening this year. Both those tackles are way, way better. And they were in the season. They were against Georgia. The questions about who's going to develop after Kayshawn, well, no, who's going to develop along with Malik? I think Malik's just the guy that we all know. I think that, you know, isn't this supposed to not be the case? There's so many programs like Ole Miss. I'm like, week 1, some receivers will develop. Arkansas, they just brought in a pile of new guys. Somebody will develop. LSU did not bring in a pile of new guys.
Right.
All right. Auburn brought in a pile of new guys. Like, going in last year, I was like, I don't see a third-team All-SEC receiver on that roster. All right. So, yeah, Hugh Freeze is like, neither do I. We're bringing a pile of new guys. LSU did not bring in a pile of new guys this offseason at wide receiver. That makes them so different than everybody, man. I can't get enough of the Tigers.
What about the Auburn Tigers? The sports books have their projected win total over under 6.5. I just think Hugh Freeze is too good to win fewer than 7 games. Am I missing it?
No, not necessarily. Because that's supposed to be an attainable number at any point. You know, when Auburn wins 3 games, Auburn won 3 games in 2012. And I remember I had done a UAB game in Birmingham. Got back to the hotel, turned on the Georgia game in the middle of the third quarter. I was like, well, the flower's down near the play clock, so that looks like Jordan Hare. And there's some kids running around in Auburn uniforms. But that's not Auburn football.
Right.
Auburn was never supposed to be a 3-win team. Auburn was never supposed to be as bad as they were last year. And so I think it's one of those things that with more direction and focus and just a more cohesive approach than a minute-to-minute am I about to get fired, because it was over. It was over after media days with Harsin last year where he walked in and the first thing out of his mouth is, I won. And I'm like, whoever was still in your corner in the Auburn fan base, you know, you really are going up. So anyway, it ended how it ended. Totally different feel. And over 6.5, like, that shouldn't be the goal at Auburn. I know reality is who you got, but they got a starting quarterback now. Like, 2 years. They've got now some third-team All-SEC receivers. They're going to be good on defense. So, yeah, I can see that blue sky.
Chuck Oliver is with us on Twitter at KingCFB. You hear the Chuck Oliver Show every single weekday following AFR on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Can I get you on in New Orleans and Lafayette and Lake Charles?
Oh,
and
groovy.
As well? I need to get you all over the place, man. You need to make that happen.
Oh, well, I've told you before, New Orleans, and actually, I mean, I had family in Louisiana if you go way back and over into Houston and all. But New Orleans is my absolute favorite getaway. And it's a walk-in town, which means that you really get to know all the different folks because I walk from breakfast, and then I walk over to the Hotel Monteleone barbershop.
Yep.
and I get my shave and my hair cut, and then it's time to walk for lunch because, I mean, it's been an hour and a half. So over to the Royal House. So absolutely throughout the state of Louisiana.
I usually get texts sometime in the spring. All right, need a recommendation. Is this any good for lunch? Is usually what I'll get.
You told me Redfish Grill several years ago, and it has become my in fact, I only eat dessert a couple times a year. And the double chocolate bread pudding at Redfish Grill.
Yeah.
Son.
You got to order it when you sit down.
You do. It's one of those, it'll take 15 minutes. I'm like, well, it's New Orleans. Who's in a hurry? So.
Yeah. Let's go to the East. Georgia and everybody else. Is Tennessee ready to be the Georgia, Tennessee, and everybody else?
I think they are, but it's Georgia, Tennessee. And there are two different challenges. While you still have divisions, this is true. If you are in a division setup, and you're in the division, for instance, with the monster, which in this case is Georgia, you've got to beat them over 12 weeks. You don't get the luxury of even beating them over 3 hours because you're not as good as them, and you can still screw up and lose to Kentucky or Vanderbilt or whomever. And so Tennessee, like LSU, one of the reasons I love them so much is they have to just win the West. Right. They don't have to win the East first. What's more likely, beat Georgia over 12 weeks or 3 hours? I think it's beat them over 3 hours.
Yeah. And Missouri almost did it last year.
Yeah, so Tennessee right now, I mean, it's just the buzzard's luck for the final year. But here's a measuring stick. Tell me if you think I'm off. Two categories. Programs that it's about to get tougher. Because I found out in so many interviews people have been asking me about, and I'm like, blah, 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 Arkansas. Oh, and it's about to get tougher. You know, OU and Texas joining. And Mississippi State. Oh, South Carolina. Oh, it's about to get tougher. I don't say it's about to get tougher for Georgia and Alabama and LSU, and I think Tennessee is the only other program that I say it's about to get tougher for OU and Texas. Like, is Tennessee that bubble team to me? Because LSU and Bama and Georgia, they look at OU and Texas and go, game respects game, but we're not scared of you.
Right.
I can promise you that right now in Como, they're like, damn.
They got good.
It's about to get tougher in Como. Yeah. It's because OU and Texas are joining. I think Tennessee is literally that bubble team that I don't know if it's tougher for them or it's going to be tougher for OU and Texas.
We know OU and Texas will be here next year. I've asked a lot of people this. Every year when we come, it's some coaches last year. It's the way it works. Someone's not going to be here next year. Who do you think most likely to not be here next year?
All right.
For whatever reason.
If it was, there were two headlines. I mentioned Como. Two headlines coming out of Como this offseason. One is your head coach, who's made his bones calling plays as a quarterback coach and an OC, was forced to give up play calling duties. That was the first headline. So I say Eli on the hot seat. Second headline out of Como was Eli gets an extension and a raise. Those two don't go together, do they?
Right.
And so I have to take Eli kind of off that list. Is he on the hot seat? Well, I guess everybody kind of is. Can I give you a hot seat for the first month? Because I think that Mississippi State, they open with a beatable opponent. They got a game like maybe at Arizona, don't they?
They do.
And then LSU early.
They get Arizona in Starkville.
Okay. I looked at that, and I think maybe LSU is like maybe week 3 or so, whatever it is. I think Zach Arnett is going to be a really good head coach. I think after the first month of the season, we may be looking at Mississippi State, and people are going, in over his head, can't handle it. I was like, it's not. It's a whole new job for him. So I don't want us to pass judgment after 1 month into his entire coaching career as a head coach. So
Southeastern, Arizona at home, LSU at home, at South Carolina, Alabama.
What's easy about that? And so I think
Southeastern.
After a month, it may be, hey, wait, it was a bit much for him. And I'm like, guys, look, it's the SEC. It ain't easy.
He is the king on Twitter at KingCFB. Chuck Oliver Show. Southern. I accidentally hit one of those little button bars.
Fabulous.
One of those little buttons just made that sound effect. But as I was outroing you, it was very appropriate. Angelic hymns and tones. He is Chuck Oliver. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, we will be back from Radio Row. More on AFR next. Stick around.
AFR.
Quick reminder about Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Of course, I've been reminding you about those storms in West Baton Rouge, but, man, not just the hail in West Baton Rouge, but Zachary, down the bayou, Laplace, Lakeview. We've been getting Lafayette, to our Lafayette audience. We've been getting so many reports and so many calls from our friends and our customers who said, hey, had the insurance adjuster out, I got my scope of work, my paperwork, got a check from the insurance company. When can you come redo my roof? Well, the answer is now. We got staff. We got materials. We're ready to roll. Give us a shout. 364-1007, 364-1007. That's in the 225. 364-1007 or HUDCOroofing.com. That's HUDCOroofing.com. Tell you every day, do business with someone you know. Roofing companies pop up all over the place. There's door knockers everywhere. Ignore them and do business with someone you know, someone who was here before and will be here long after. That's HUDCOroofing.com.
Bayou Ford has $8,000 off MSRP, plus 1.9% financing on new 23 Ford F-150 XLT trucks, along with Bayou Ford's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCOroofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Make this summer your backyard party year with Chris's Specialty Foods. Wings, burgers, brisket, steak, and boudin, plus great Cajun side dishes. We do all the prep, and you enjoy laughing with friends and family. Chris's Specialty Foods, Millerville, New Orleans, Prairieville, and Frisco.
Everybody loves Chris's authentic Cajun meat.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Get 3.99% financing on select 2023 models at Corval Toyota in Opelousas. And we also have a large selection of pre-owned inventory. So come
Live from the 2023 SEC Football Media Days presented by HUDCO Roofing. After further review with Matt Moscona. Presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
Final day here at Radio Row SEC Football Media Days. The Gators were here on Wednesday. Good chance to catch up with my friends from 1010XL in Jacksonville, Frangie and Lauren Brooks. How are y'all?
Fantastic.
This has been great. It's been a long week. We ought to have it in Nashville every year. Having a fun time. Broadway's great. Loving it.
Do you think sometimes I think about this event in terms of what's convenient for us. But for the audience, really, it's just what's the best content we can deliver. Yep. Do you think that the setup here allowed you to do better shows for your audience?
I thought it was tighter. You're not going up the escalator here and there, Matt. So I think it did. one of my big gripes with this event, and I've said it on my air a lot of times, I don't care if the job's decided or not. I think all 14 teams should bring a quarterback. I think it's what fans want.
Frank.
All 14.
I've been stumping for this forever.
Yeah,
You're the first person that said it. You weren't even prompted.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know. But all 14, it's a fans event, and it should not be a reward for the captain left guard who's been a good soldier for 4 years.
South Carolina brought a punter today.
It should never happen.
One of the best punters in the nation, according to Shane Bean.
But so that's my big gripe. But no, I like this better. I think it's tighter. I think everything's more everything's very convenient. And I know I was talking to Chuck Dunlop from the league, Matt, the other day, and he said, "Listen, this is so much better than we've had. Our challenge now is to replicate it in Dallas, where it's going to be next year." So long answer to a short question. I like this setup best of the ones that I've seen. Hoover forever, both cracks at Atlanta. I didn't like either one of them.
Yeah,
I really like this.
Lauren, what did you think about how takeaways from Billy Napier yesterday?
Well, I think the main thing Gator fans wanted to know is Graham Mertz. Is he going to be the starting quarterback? And if so, how good is he going to be? And I think Billy Napier addressed that. And I mean, he specifically said if he was a high school recruit right now, we would be excited about him coming into our program. So I think that spoke confidence into him. He, I think, will be named starter fairly soon. But yes, Graham Mertz did not make the trip to Nashville, so he's not the starting quarterback as of now. But Billy Napier, I thought, was in a type of mood that was fascinating to watch. He looked like he was enjoying himself, but I thought you could tell that he was frustrated with how bad his team is projected to be.
Yeah. Well, Frank, you've covered the team obviously a long time. What is sort of the finger on the pulse of, I hate to just phrase it as the fan base, but the level of pressure, fan base boosters, all that after what was a disappointing year last year?
Yeah, well, in a series of them, Matt. The number one, I think people believe Billy Napier's getting good players. Here's the way I look at this: we are in such an immediate time of immediacy, Matt. We want it now, and if it's not now, let's fire the coach because the next guy will make it happen now, and that's what happens. And you cycle a guy in 2 or 3 years, and you fire him, and you cycle a guy in 2 or 3 years, and you fire him. I think Florida fans have been through so much. There have been a lot of failed coaches now.
Yeah.
Will Muschamp failed, Jim McElwain failed, Dan Mullen failed. A lot of failed coaches since they were good. So I think people finally in the fan base said, you know what? We got to stop this. I think fans love recruiting. Fans are in love with recruiting. And I think there's a belief that this guy's going to get the good players. The question becomes, what if they win 5 or 6 games again this year? Then how hot is the heat? And then what if it happens again next year when you're playing a freshman quarterback and you got a brutal schedule that includes FSU and Miami and UCF? So if he can get to year 4, I think the fan base believes that. He's going to have a good roster, a roster that looks like Alabama and LSU roster, which is what they used to have. But he's got to get to that 4th year.
Does Tennessee's success a year ago, does that change the dynamic with Florida at all?
I think a little bit. I think more than just Tennessee. Florida fans are used to, outside of maybe Muschamp, but they're used to a really good play caller, a really good offensive play caller, and an exciting offense, right? Yeah. When Florida's successful, that's what you have. And so, yes, Tennessee had that. But moreover, Billy Napier hasn't yet shown that he can be this offensive play calling genius. So I think the only thing Florida fans, if they're willing to be patient, may want to see is an offensive coordinator that may take over the play calling.
You know what's funny, Matt? The Tennessee thing got their attention because they've always had that upper hand on Tennessee. They beat them 15 out of 16 years. Yeah. They've had the upper hand.
And the one was like, wasn't it the Hail Mary?
Yeah. Florida won the Hail Mary game. The one
Florida won the Hail Mary.
Florida was up 21-0 on the one they lost. But Spurrier always kind of had Fulmer's number. He would tweak him a little bit, and Gator fans love that. Florida always felt like they had a step up on Tennessee. So I think Tennessee's success got them. And look, Steve Spurrier beat LSU 11 out of 12 times. He beat Georgia 11 out of 12 times. Urban Meyer had success against those teams too. Georgia's a great program. Florida's miles from them. I think Florida's a long way behind LSU. I think Florida's now behind Tennessee. So I think it's a series of teams. Look, dude, Florida's become Missouri. I don't think Florida fans ever expected that, but that's where they are now. Now they believe this guy with recruiting can pull them out of that. But I think Florida fans are mystified how'd that happen. I think there's a how that happened sentiment, I think, in the fan base.
And Frank Frangie and Lauren Brooks, 1010XL in Jacksonville are with us. Does the transfer portal and does like Brian Kelly having success year one, like the immediacy, but does that change the expectation for fans? Like, hey, what is realistic, right? I mean, you should be able to turn this thing around more quickly than in years past.
I think fans are smart. LSU won a national championship, as you well know, Matt, in 2019. Their program was at a much better place, even though Ed Orgeron had some things slip later on. But overall, it was a much better program taking over than what Billy Napier has taken over. At least Eddie O recruited, which is why when you look at the blue chip ratios, LSU is still in a great spot, and Florida has slipped tremendously because Dan Mullen didn't recruit. So I think Florida fans certainly are aware of that. But are they incredibly jealous of the year one success? Absolutely.
And to your point, they both had a job opening at the same time. Florida hired a guy that looked upwardly mobile but had never done it. LSU hired a guy who had done it. The whole nation made fun of him. The nation made fun of the accent and the dancing. And so we spent that whole offseason last year thinking Florida got the superstar because he's the next great thing, and LSU got a guy that doesn't fit at all and is going to be a disaster. LSU wound up getting a really good guy, and Florida got a guy that we don't know yet. So, yeah, I think to your question, I think Florida fans thought they won that last summer. They won the two coaching hire thing, and I don't think they feel that way right now. So I think LSU's success has had effect on Gator Nation.
One of the things where that's the little button bar.
Yeah.
And every now and again I flip. Would you stop? So all these little buttons on the board, those are sound effects.
Okay.
And I just flipped the cable.
Yeah.
And it hit one of the look.
That's
really good.
That's much better than
we don't have that in Jackson. See, we're envious. We don't have that kind of. We don't have any buttons. We have a whole radio station with no buttons.
We would accidentally hit the button.
This thing's got buttons. That's
I have
phenomenal.
no idea who loaded these sound effects. Let's just hit green. Let's see what green is.
Oh.
See, I never realized how far behind we were in technology. Now not just Gator fans. Now I'm jealous. Okay, so we all have it going now.
Billy Napier, year one at Florida.
See, Lauren, I want you to look into that and see what this costs because we have to do this. See, this is phenomenal. I'm writing down. I'm going on the website right now and see if we get this. This is tremendous.
Okay, let's get down to something that we really have to talk about. We'll come back to Florida in a second.
Yeah.
When are you going to do your 50 push-ups that you owe me?
Yeah, it's funny that you asked that, Matt, because I was asked several times this week why you haven't done the push-ups yet, because Jameis Winston didn't start in Week 8. He did not start. It came by injury, but he didn't start Week 8, and all I specifically said on the bet was he won't start Week 8.
I'm going into the archives. I'm going back. So 2021 SEC Media Days, Lauren and I had a bet, 50 push-ups, if Jameis would make it to the halfway point of the season as the starter. Of course, the Saints were 5-2. Devin White rips apart Jameis's ACL, and then he doesn't play. And I think, Lauren, you're being disingenuous. That's what I think. I think you know in your heart of hearts that you at least owe me 25 push-ups.
I disagree because he didn't. It's not like he started the game and then he got hurt. He didn't start the game at all. Now, granted, I didn't think he'd be successful, and he was more successful than I had predicted. But either way, he still didn't start Week 8.
I think I can speak for the listeners of both radio stations, and here's what I will tell you. And not that I've been decided to be the judge as the arbiter here.
I know.
But what I will tell you is this: Matt's a good-looking guy, broad-shouldered. Bench press is probably 450, something about. And I think Matt doing push-ups would be fine. But I don't know that America craves it. Okay. I think America wants to watch Lauren do these push-ups, so I'm siding with Matt. And I'm speaking for America, not for me. I'm speaking for the country, really. The region, the country, the states, the SEC. So I'm speaking for others when I got to side with Matt here because, now everything's on video now, and it's on Twitter and Instagram and whatever all the other platforms are. So I'm speaking for the people, I think.
Thanks a lot for having my back.
He just completely hung you out to dry.
Yeah. Absolutely,
how does that feel?
It feels honestly normal because that's exactly what happens on a day-to-day basis in Jacksonville. I will tell you, Matt, Frank knows this. So my mom years ago was in Asheville at the Asheville Gator Club watching Florida play. Both my parents went to Florida, and then I went to Florida. And there were these women there that every time Florida would score a touchdown or any points, they would do the amount of push-ups of the points that Florida had. So my mom brought the tradition home. So now I do push-ups every time. So if Florida's up, which this hasn't happened recently very much, but if Florida's up 50-20, I have then done probably 100 and something push-ups.
Yeah.
So I am ready for the push-up challenge. I think, though, we should make a new bet since this one was a wash.
And just so you know, by the way, poor Lauren grew up in the Spurrier era. That's a lot of push-ups.
That's what I was going to say.
I want to be in the Muschamp era. Okay, I want to do the push-up. I want to do the Will Muschamp Gator push-ups. That's what I want to do.
If young Lauren Brooks was doing push-ups when Steve Spurrier's Florida team came and scored 60 on LSU and Baton Rouge, that would be a pretty significant upper body.
That's what I would look like.
That's what you look like. Real quick, also, for those who don't know, Frank is the radio voice of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jags visit the Saints this year. Jags have had a pipeline of LSU talent there over the years that we've talked about. But give me a thought, if you would, on what the expectation would be for Jacksonville coming to New Orleans early this year on a Thursday night.
Yeah. I think the Jags, for the first time, there's this belief that there's sustainable success, Matt. We haven't had that. It's been a struggling franchise. It lost 16 out of 17 years, had losing records. Last year, they struggled. They started out 3-7, struggled down at the beginning, really rallied down the stretch, had some narrow wins. But I think there's a belief that this is sustainable success. Doug Peterson, the coach, is a terrific guy. He's built culture. He's a smart coach. He's a very good play caller. And Trevor Lawrence in this league, and you know this, you get quarterback and coach figured out together. Whether it's Belichick and Brady, whether it's Dungy and Manning, whether it's Sean Payton and Drew Brees.
Yeah.
If you get those together, you're going to make a good little Andy Reid and Mahomes. You're going to make a good little run, and I think there's a belief the Jags are on the cusp of a pretty good run. I think New Orleans is going to win the South, so I think you're playing a division winner, and it's hard to play New Orleans on the road. It's a great fan base. It's a Thursday night game after they've already traveled to London, so I think it's going to be a fun game. I think it's going to be a good game, but I think the Jags like kind of where they are. I really do.
Two teams that are probably the best team in a bad division. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
But I think in the AFC South, the Titans are closer to the Jaguars than probably anyone else is in your division.
Man, NFC South is awful.
Really bad division. I was thinking about this when we were coming over here to sit down with you, and maybe Bryce Young will be very good at some point. But other than that, I don't think Tampa Bay knows who its quarterback is anytime in the near future.
Tampa's tanking.
Yeah.
They're tanking to try to get Caleb Williams.
And maybe Desmond Ritter's a good player, but I don't think he's going to be.
Yeah.
So I would think the Saints, it's a bad division. And I think the Saints might be pretty good. I think Dennis Allen's pretty good. I think the Saints actually might be pretty good. So I'd be very surprised if they don't win that division.
Me too. But I think you're looking at a 9-8 football team that wins a bad division and gets bounced in the wild card round. It's been a really contentious offseason because there's a lot of Saints fans that want to believe that Derek Carr is going to be the injection of life into the offense that they need to elevate to a championship contender, and I just think there's a ceiling there. So we'll see. Do you have a feeling on Derek Carr? I mean, do you think Derek Carr is going to win 12 games?
So I was in Denver last May, and we were just chit-chatting, my cousin and I, with this group of guys that were there for a bachelor party, and they were from all over, but one of them was a Raiders fan. And I said, Derek Carr is a miserable quarterback. He's like, are you kidding me? Devontae Adams now?
Yeah.
No, Derek Carr is going to be sensational. Raiders are going to be fantastic. Somewhere there is a man who hates my guts that is out there, that is a big Raiders fan, that certainly no longer is a Derek Carr fan. I don't think he's very good at all. I shouldn't say it like that. I think he's fine as long as you don't need him in clutch moments. And then as soon as you need him to have a fourth quarter comeback, you're going to be sitting there going, well, and there went the win.
I have a bet with Chad Johnson.
Okay.
Ocho Cinco.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, legitimately, the NFL Twitter put out, predict the stats graphic. You've seen him doing that?
Mm-hmm.
And so he put 4,700 yards, 38 touchdowns, 6 picks. So I did a little bit on my show where I was like, well, if Ocho Cinco gets to make unrealistic predictions, then I'm going to go ahead and predict that I'm going to join Patrick Mahomes and Troy Polamalu as a spokesperson for Head & Shoulders. And we clipped it and put it out there.
I like it.
And he replied to it and was like, name the bet. So here I am in my bets
I was
again.
gonna say.
Right.
So we have a bet. So if Carr doesn't hit those numbers, Ocho Cinco has to fly himself to Baton Rouge and do my show with me for 3 hours in studio.
No, that's fantastic.
I love
that's
that.
fantastic.
And if I lose, he's got a cigar brand. I'll do my show at a cigar sponsor that we have, a cigar bar. And we'll promote his cigar brand, the whole thing like that. So if you want to get in on some Derek Carr wager action, you let me know. I'm down for push-ups, cigar bets, whatever.
See, the thing about Derek Carr is he'll probably be in the 4,500 yards range, but the touchdowns and interceptions won't look anything like 38.
But what I'm wondering, though, is I'm hearing this all unfold. You hate Derek Carr. You hated Jameis. Do you hate Matt? Is it a Matt thing, or is it a quarterback
I
thing?
think Jaden Daniels is excellent. Does that count for anything?
Good. What about Drew Brees? Did you like him?
I did like.
Yeah, I heard he was good.
It was nice.
Yeah, they said he was
But
good.
I'll still take Trevor over Derek Carr. How's that?
I would take Trevor Lawrence over Derek Carr today. I would, at this point in their career, would absolutely do that. Frank Frangie and Lauren Brooks, 1010XL in Jacksonville. Thanks, y'all.
Thanks so much for having us.
All right, we're going to grab a quick break, come back, and wrap up hour number 1 of AFR next.
AFR.
SEC Football Media Days.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by River Cities 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. Hey, when you call River Cities 1 Hour Air, I want to remind you, make sure you ask about their service club membership, because one of the most important things about that, it gets you complimentary seasonal maintenance that I always tell you about it. And then also it gets you front-of-the-line service and membership pricing if you do need repairs. It's totally worth it. And, of course, no matter what, you'll always get exceptional customer service like Jan Alderman did. Jan sent this 5-star Google review. Jayson, her tech, was very professional, very knowledgeable, very nice. Would recommend him to everyone. Thank you for the quick response always. Remember, they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. So when River Cities 1 Hour Air is scheduled to come out to the house, they'll give you time. If they're 1 minute late, you don't come out of pocket 1 cent. They value your time and they value your money at River Cities 1 Hour Air. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. It's River Cities 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. Public records reveal the finalists for the top cop job at LSU, and the WBRZ investigative unit uncovered 2 out of the 4 have big problems. It's unknown tonight if that baggage is known to those making the top pick, but one was implicated in a party bus killing after a fight. Another, the focus of a federal discrimination lawsuit. Find out what we uncovered. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
Rev Business started small in 1935. We built our reputation by providing hometown service with Louisiana hustle. For nearly 90 years, we've expanded across our great state, through the swamps and across the Mississippi, bringing fiber optics from the capital to the North Shore and down the bayou to the coast, all to connect your business with the world. Rev is about big business technology with small business personal service. Powerful solutions, unmatched local service. Rev Business.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Here at Corval Toyota in Opelousas, we have in stock 2023 Toyota Tundras, and you can get
Live from the 2023 SEC Football Media Days presented by Hudco Roofing. After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
All right, a bit of a shorter segment here to close things up. If you're just joining us, the event that is SEC Media Days ended at 2 o'clock. So Matt and T-Bob and Hester and Rivers, they've all packed up, and they're getting set to make their way home. So what we're doing is what we've done really kind of for the last 3-4 years, it feels like, maybe even a little bit longer than that, is Matt records a bunch of stuff from the day, and we replay it for you here too. So far, we've had Jayson Swain talking Tennessee, Chuck Oliver talking broadly SEC, and we just had Frank Frangie and Lauren Brooks with Matt talking about the Florida Gators. So we'll have plenty more of that coming up. Jake Crain, Neal McCready talking some Ole Miss will come up as well. David Cohn, also from Crain and Company, a little bit later on in the show, talking broad SEC. And then a little bit later on, kind of a couple of the replays for you. We'll bring back Greg Sankey's interview with Matt, or I should say Matt's interview with Greg Sankey from yesterday later on in the show, as well as a highlight from LSU, Josh Williams. The interview Matt did with him was really, really good, so we'll let you hear that again as well. So 1 hour in the books, 2 more to go. When we come back, we'll take you back out to Radio Row, so to speak, and let you hear more of what Matt did earlier today before they pack up and come home. And Matt, for what it's worth, will be back in studio tomorrow. Terrio, all of that set to go. We'll close out the week as normal. So that's going to wrap up hour number 1. We will be back on the other side with more. Stay here.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. I was at South Point on Saturday. Was talking to Brad over there, and he said they have a full lot, their full inventory of 2024 Atlases and Cross Sports are on the way. They should have them within 30 days. Oh my goodness. If you go to the website, southpointvw.com, you'll see on the flipper that they have inventory on the way. And you can go reserve your vehicle before it even gets here. So if you don't even wait for it to show up, go reserve that vehicle today at southpointvw.com. For all of our friends in Lafayette, Southwest Volkswagen, same great ownership group. They're servicing the 337. Southwest Volkswagen, you can check them out there as well. Whether it's the Atlas, the Crossport, the ID4, the Taos, which is the fun-sized SUV, they've got you covered over at South Point Volkswagen. SouthPointVW.com.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown with breaking news. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports NFL owners unanimously approved the $6 billion sale of the Washington Commanders from Daniel Snyder to a group led by Josh Harris. When the new season kicks off, the Kansas City Chiefs will hang a banner and host the Lions in the opener. Chiefs running back Isaiah Pacheco says he will absolutely be ready to start the season at full strength. SEC Football Media Day is wrapping up today. Jordan Rogers of the SEC Network says some folks aren't taking Alabama seriously because of the quarterback situation.
This competition is real at Alabama. I do believe it's a two-man race between Ty Simpson and Tyler Buchner. I think Jalen Milroe is an unbelievable athlete. I think that they realize this offense with the talent around the quarterback, that position just needs to be a point guard.
Jordan Rogers. Baseball finals today. The Blue Jays shut out the Padres 4-0. Alejandro Kirk with a 2-run homer. Tigers beat the Royals 3-0. 7 scoreless for Michael Lorenzen, and he allowed just 3 hits. The White Sox beat the Mets 6-2.
How would you love a chance to save some money on car insurance? Geico can help. Switch today and see all the ways you could save with great rates and discounts. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com to get a rate quote and get started seeing how much you could save.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride!
Hour number 2 of After Further Review. Musso holding down the fort. Alondra filling in for me over there, kind of, sort of, I guess. Paul O'Neill here as well. We'll take you back out to Radio Row momentarily. Matt sat down with Jake Crain, J-Boy of Crain and Company. They talked all things SEC. You're going to like what Jake had to say about the LSU Fighting Tigers.
Wrapping up final day here, Radio Row, SEC Football Media Days. It would not be complete if we did not talk to J-Boy, Jake Crain. Little throwback there, huh?
Dude, I love it. I still go by that.
Does anybody still call you J-Boy?
Yeah, all the time.
He's Jake Crain from Crain and Company. I don't believe that people still call you that. Nobody calls you J-Boy here anymore.
Well, I'm talking like on social media too. Okay. Like, I mean, I'll get DMs, J-Boy, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? You know, what could you hit with a wiffle ball bat? All type of stuff like that.
That's so good.
Thanks, man.
Who did you like talking to this week? Y'all get basically everybody you want.
Yeah, Sam Pittman, man.
Really? He's the guy.
You know, it's one of those things, and it's not just that he's a good old boy. You know, I'm from the state of Alabama. I mean, consider myself a good old boy without the accent. But, you know, he genuinely talks about stuff that coaches normally don't tell you. I mean, we got, talking about bringing Dan Enos in over from Maryland as the OC, kind of what to expect offensively, how much of a change are we going to see, personnel groupings. They stayed in a lot of 11 last year, 1 back, 1 tight end. They're going to get in a lot more 12, some 13, some 10, throw the ball around a lot more. He talked about, structurally in practice, adding, they didn't go live at all last year, which surprised me hearing that. Yeah, practice during scrimmages, which you have to. But, since 2020, Arkansas's lost more games by a field goal or less than anybody in the Southeastern Conference. I think maybe even in the country when you look at it. So he talked about what he added in practice, and Travis Williams, the new DC, they're not going to run as much zero as he did at UCF. But, man, just, getting the insights, getting to know what's really going on, kind of, I did it for 9 years, 6 at the Division I level, and I know when a coach is giving me coach speak and when he's not. And I know you can only go to a certain point, but Sam Pittman, man, great personality, great fit, and really gave us some great insight.
Who do you think is not going to be back here next year?
I'd put the amount of coaches fired in the SEC at 1.5 if I had to. If I had to guess, I know Drinkwitz got that extension at the end of the year, but he's got to show progress. And Missouri, while they're just about as patient as anybody in the SEC, I think they're, they want to take that next step. I don't buy into the Florida firing Billy Napier unless it's a 3-9, just some disaster with off the field problems. I think Scott Strickland's going to be patient there. So, man, I think there's a good chance maybe nobody. I don't think Nick's going to retire. Now, would I take, honestly, as a person that's an Auburn fan, we're all a fan of somebody, if Alabama were to win it and he were to retire, would I take that right now? Yes, I would, Matt. I'd take it right now, but I don't see that happening.
That's not happening. Somebody's always gone. It's just the way that this goes, man. Somebody's always
Well, now, are we talking about fired? Are we talking about takes another job, somebody reaches in, tries to go to the next level?
Sure. I just said who's not going to be here.
That's tough, man.
So you think Jimbo survives?
I think they go 9-3.
Okay, let's dig in there. Why?
Yep. Well, I think Petrino and Garrett Riley were the two best offseason coordinator hires. And everybody goes straight to the ego thing, and everybody has an ego at this level. Everybody does. You can't get to this level without having some sort of ego. Now, some are bigger than others. I just think Bobby Petrino offensively, with what they have coming back up front, because that's where the game's won and lost. A&M kind of got away from being who I think they really are, which is a physical team. I mean, you think about A&M, you think about the Junction Boys, 12th man, take you out in the alley and turn it into a fist fight. And now they had kind of turned into this pretty boy, all these prima donnas, guys getting in trouble. I think they're going to get back to kind of who they are. I like Wegman. I think he has a pretty high ceiling. I like his ability to extend the play. They're young outside, but they're talented. And then defensively, I like what they did in the portal. I think they've trimmed some of the fat. And then I look at the schedule. I think the schedule is somewhat favorable, as much as you can say that in this league. But with Petrino offensively, his mind schematically, what he's able to do from a formational standpoint, he calls plays to set up other plays. But it's going to come down to how they do early. That Miami game is going to be huge in this clash of Petrino and Jimbo Fisher. So I think 9-3 is a legitimate possibility. I don't make my final predictions till the end of fall camp because I need to know who gets hurt. Somebody always goes down. Somebody always wins a job you didn't think was going to win a job. So I typically wait till then, but I'm leaning 9-3.
The example I've given a bunch this week is in 2000, because we get a lot of Texas and Oklahoma questions this week, obviously, and how they may fare coming into the league. 2012, when A&M came here, they brought Jameel Showers to media days.
Really?
And then he lost the job in camp to Johnny Manziel, who won the Heisman.
It's something. There's always, we used to say, there's always a lot of good surprises and there's a lot of bad surprises. It's typically how it rolls.
So where are their losses? Bama, at Tennessee, at LSU?
That's what I'm thinking. Because again, look at that schedule. I think there's a good chance if they put the quality team on the field, I think they would, that they're going to be favored in pretty much all those other games. Going on the road, I think with what happened against LSU last year, it's going to be tough for them to go in there and win it, especially the way they did. They beat them up last year. They really did when you go back and look at it. I don't got to tell you all that. The game, I think they get Bama at home, correct?
A&M?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
They're yes. Yes, that's in conversation.
They get Bama at home. I think that game's going to be tight, but I do think I tell you what though, Matt, and I get that I'm the last person to sleep on Nick Saban. The last person. But Alabama I'm as wary about Alabama right now for multiple reasons, not just the quarterback. You're having to replace a left tackle and a quarterback in the same year. When's the last time that happened in a Nick Saban coach team? Because he's the best at roster management. Best in the world. The blueprint, we always hear about it. Oh, the blueprint this, the blueprint that. Well, the blueprint, a lot of it's roster management. We don't talk about it enough in college football. We'll talk about transfers. We'll talk about recruiting. It's all you talk about in the NFL is roster management. So they typically don't lose two symbiotic places like that in the same year. And I don't think they have an elite guy right now at that quarterback position that's going to be able to save them the way Bryce did. And they can't bully people up front the way they used to. I mean, look at what Georgia's doing up front. Look at what Michigan's doing up front. There's 3 or 4 teams now. Alabama doesn't have a monopoly on the linemen anymore.
Are you picking LSU to win the West?
I am. Right now I am.
Does LSU beat Bama in Tuscaloosa? Isn't that weird? Everybody goes, yeah, LSU, but you go, are they going to win in Tuscaloosa?
Well, again, it's obviously plausible that both those things can be true at once.
Yes.
Here's where I think LSU, in my opinion, and I've told you this, and when Brian Kelly got hired, I said this. LSU, to me, is one of the few golden ticket schools, one of the ones that can get you into Wonka's factory. Like Georgia and Bama. Like all of a sudden, if the recipe's right, all they need is structure and balance.
Yeah.
It's like having a race car. You just need somebody that'll take it the speed limit every now and then. Because LSU, it's the state school. We know the amount of talent that comes out of that state. But LSU's a national brand. And when they get cooking, they can get as hot as anybody in recruiting. But they won one national championship with a guy who ate grass. They won another one with a guy who smoked it. So if you get a guy who is a CEO type like Brian Kelly is, that understands how to put the monster together structurally, organizationally, and can hold people accountable the way that he does, LSU is a monster. And look what he did in year one. Came in year one, won the West. Really slipped up and won the West, if we're going to be honest. Kind of snuck everybody. They're not going to sneak anybody this year, but you return two young tackles that are NFL players, 4 offensive linemen overall. I'm never worried about LSU on the outside. I think Malik Nabors is a legitimate NFL wide receiver. Jaden Daniels, once he started utilizing the deep third of the field halfway through last year, it really opened up the offense. And Mason Smith, minus the celebrations, is 3 steps away from being an Avenger. And I'm not even talking about Harold Perkins. I'm about to go watch him in Oppenheimer tonight in theaters.
So then why do you struggle to say that they're going to beat Alabama?
Because it gets weird in T-Town. There's always that one game that gets really, really weird where it connects for Alabama. And we know that the Nick Saban LSU tie. No, nobody's going to sleep on that game. Not saying LSU won't, but right now that is a really tough game for me to predict. I need to see them on the field before I make that one. But I will say that's why this Florida State game, week 1, is the ultimate insurance game. I'm calling it the State Farm game. Ultimate insurance game.
Okay.
You win it, you buy yourself a loss. Because we run the experiment.
I agree.
You beat, let's say you don't win the West, and you beat Florida State, you lose one game, Bama wins the West, you don't go to the SEC Championship. LSU's going to get in the playoff with one loss.
So if LSU's only loss
is at Bama,
closer loss to
and
Bama.
they beat Florida State in week 1. Now, if you lose that game, it's week 1. I think Florida State's going to have a hell of a year. I love what they did in the portal with Jaheim Bell. Defensively, Jared Verse, I think, is a top 5 pick, and they got aliens running around him, and that's not even discounting Johnny Wilson on the outside there. But when you lose that game, then I think you have to beat Bama on the road to be able to get in. But you can still get in, and it's week 1, and it's a good loss on a neutral site. So it's the State Farm game.
He's Jake Crain on Twitter at @JakeCrain_. Catch him weekdays on Crain and Company. I was supposed to do a chicken finger challenge with Cohn. It was going to be like Canes against.
You can't trust a guy that went to Michigan. Can we be honest?
From Georgia. Georgia.
Yeah, but listen, he claims Michigan, and then he married into Bama. Like Richard Todd's daughter is his wife. Did you know that?
No.
You did not know that?
No.
Yeah.
So he's from Georgia.
From Georgia.
He goes to Michigan.
Yes.
Marries a Bama girl.
Yes.
So what is he like? Georgia, Michigan, Bama, just so he could cheer.
Oh no! He's not a Georgia fan. He's Georgia Southern. He's from Statesboro. Okay, but that's not. I mean, let's be honest. That's just like the appetizer of the meal. He could care less. Is it good? I want to see the main course. But he's Michigan. Okay. And listen, I'm big on Michigan this year. Now they got 7 offensive linemen could get drafted off this team.
Okay.
But he's mixture of Bama and Michigan, so it must be tough, man. Must be a tough life. I'm sitting over here praying to God that Auburn wins 8 games.
Is Auburn going to win 8 games?
I think they go in 4. I'm looking at the non-conference. You got peanut butter and jelly. You go to Cal. I mean, this isn't a reading contest. I'm not worried about that one. Then you get Bama and Georgia at home. It's going to be tough to win either one of those. You got to go on the road and beat one of A&M. I believe Auburn gets some Mississippi schools at home, and you got Vandy on the road.
Auburn's win total is 6-5 in Vegas.
6.5
in Vegas.
Smash the over.
I'm going over.
I'm smashing the over on that and just taking all the money that I have in savings, so $13, and putting it on Wisconsin on the over, too. I'm telling you, watch out. Anybody with last name Mordecai, I believe in, dog.
Thanks, J-Boy. You're the best.
You are, man. Can't wait to see you again.
More from Radio Row.
That was Matt Moscona and Jake Crain from Crain and Company. Let's grab a break. Come back on the other side. Take a look at the Ole Miss Rebels next on After Further Review.
AFR.
Reminds you about Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. There's a Clegg's near you. Seagan near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. It is a great time to get by Clegg's. Look, a lot of people want to get outside and do some activity, move, get some vitamin D out there. But sometimes when it's 110 degrees, it's hard to go work out outside. How about you get in your lawn, get in your garden? Just plant something. Go by Clegg's Nursery. See their full greenhouses, incredible selection. Maybe you're a green thumb, you want to plant that vegetable garden. They got Johnny Naylor seeds. If you're a green thumb, you know about Johnny Naylor seeds. They got them. You can walk in, just go straight to the back wall. You'll see all of them right there. But so much more as well at Clegg's Nursery. You want to beautify your exterior? You need that
that doormat with garden flags or tuned wind chimes. They've got a great selection at Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local for more than 60 years. Be sure to tell them Matt sent you in to see our friends at Clegg's Nursery.
Here at Corval Toyota in Opelousas, we have in stock 2023 Toyota Tundras, and you can get $1,000 special edition bonus cash. $1,000 bonus cash. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come on, in Baton Rouge. I'm ready, what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down to
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Live from the 2023 SEC Football Media Days presented by Hudco Roofing. After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
Roger about Michelli weighing and measurement. Michelli.com with 30 offices across 11 different states. If you weigh or measure something, Michelli sells, services, rents the products used to weigh and measure. No matter where you are, you can ship your precision measurement devices to Michelli, and they'll calibrate them for you, send them back, or they'll just come to your office, pick them up, and bring them back. They can also do on-site calibration. If you have equipment that can't leave or you don't want it to leave, they can come do on-site calibrations as well with their mobile calibration labs. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement, online at Michelli.com. Louisiana-born, Louisiana-owned and operated for 76 years. They've continued to grow, expand their footprint while maintaining that local ownership, local feel, handshake deals, face-to-face sales. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. They're also hiring. Check out the careers tab at Michelli.com. Again, online at Michelli.com, Michelli.com.
Earlier today, the Ole Miss Rebels got the day started, the final day at SEC Media Day started. Matt Moscona sat down with Neal McCready from Rebel Grove.
Final day Radio Row, SEC Football Media Days. Ole Miss taking their turn. Our buddy Neal McCready from Rebel Grove, good enough to spend a couple of minutes here. How's your week been, man?
Man, it's been good. Been here all week long. Talked to a lot of people. Got to catch up with a lot of guys like you, and that's been fun. I'm not one of the guys that bitches about media days. I kind of like media days. It's kind of fun. It's more fun than like covering some of the stuff we cover.
My audience has heard me say this 24 times. You give me 4 days to binge on SEC football middle of July, I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm in every year.
Yeah.
Give it to me every year.
It's going to feel weird next week when everybody goes, here's the kickoff, and then next week there's nothing. So
Pac-12 media days, bro.
That's true.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
Pac-12, yeah.
See if the Pac-12 is going to disintegrate. I know whenever you come here, like today is Ole Miss's day, so I want to talk to you about Ole Miss, but you also look at the stories for the week through an Ole Miss lens because you're talking to your audience and what they care about. So what are the things here this week before Ole Miss got here that are front and center for Ole Miss?
I think it's obviously all the big picture stuff, as you saw with Kiffin today. It's all NIL stuff. I'm always curious to see what the other NIL opinions are because Lane's that's maybe the thing that he's most vocal about. Might be the thing that he's most I don't know what's the word, prescient about.
Why is that, by the way?
Well, I don't know. He likes to talk about it. He used the lack of it at first as a bit of a kind of a weapon, if you will, or a motivating force for Ole Miss people. Almost like hey, if I leave, it's because you didn't raise enough money. And hey, if we don't win, it's because you didn't raise enough money. And now he asked for a certain number, they surpassed it, and now the pressure's kind of on him. And you see him sort of say, hey, this system's broken, it doesn't work, it's a disaster, which I'm not sure whether he's right or wrong. I can't say. I mean, I think the jury's still out. I don't know how you feel about it, but I think it's a lot of it. And then, over the course of the other part of the week, I mean, your audience probably agrees with this. Yes, their thoughts are on LSU, but, LSU doesn't play till 7, or for example, that game at 11, they're watching it. Ole Miss people are no different. They're keeping up with the rest of the league, and it's I think this season is kind of nostalgic in a way, because it's the last one that we're going to have that's been like what we've had for the last decade plus, because it's all different next year. And I think everybody kind of knows that a little bit.
What will, when you look at the new schedule starting in 24, I mean, Ole Miss is going to keep the Egg Bowl, which has got to be the thing they care most about. So what's the thing that they're going to miss the most, the biggest change that's caused the most conversation?
Ole Miss won't play Alabama or Auburn next year. Ole Miss won't play Vanderbilt next year, which doesn't sound like much, except Ole Miss people have been making the trip to Vanderbilt every other year for as long as I can remember.
Right.
Is it a rivalry? I don't know. Not really, but it's a game that people kind of look forward to. Everybody likes to come to Nashville for a weekend. I mean, I've been in Nashville for a week. It's great.
Yeah.
That, and look, here's the thing. I mean, about the Egg Bowl. The Mississippi State fans feel differently about that game than Ole Miss people do, I think. I can't completely speak for everybody, but, Ole Miss's student body is made up of a lot of kids from out of state, so I don't know that game means as much to them. And frankly, that game being on Thanksgiving Day, the kids that aren't from Mississippi, they're not on campus that day. They've gone home. I don't know that game carries as much fun and meaning to them as maybe LSU does or Alabama does or, Georgia. And now that Texas joining the league, there's so many Texas kids that end up going to Ole Miss. I mean, that would be a big game on that campus. So I'm hopeful for the league's sake, for the fans' sake, that we go to a 9-game conference schedule. I'm not confident we will, but I hope they do. I think for fans that would be far more appealing, where you get to kind of see everybody on a relative basis.
Do you got Dead Soxy on?
Yeah.
So do I.
Yeah.
I know they're an Ole Miss or Oxford brand, but
best socks you'll ever put on your feet. DeadSoxy.com.
Absolutely. Y'all have a code?
Yeah, promo code Rebel Grove for 25% off. I'm sure you've got a code too.
Code Matt for 30% off.
There you go. See, your code's even better. There you go. I got to talk. Hey, I got to talk to my guys at Dead Soxy now. I got to go. Hey, come on.
I told them, I was like, yeah, y'all keep more of this. Help out the listener. But yeah, code Rebel Grove. Code Matt. Either way, Dead Soxy. DeadSoxy.com. Great stuff. Let's talk a little bit about this team. Is Jackson Dart going to be the quarterback?
So I think so, but they brought Spencer Sanders in for a reason. Because I've got a lot here, and some stuff here, and so you got to be careful. I got to be careful, but we know some things. Walker Howard didn't leave LSU because he hated LSU.
Right.
He didn't leave LSU because he hated Brian Kelly. He didn't leave LSU because he was miserable on campus. None of those things. Walker Howard grew up an LSU fan. His parents went to LSU. I think he has friends there. I think he had he has relationships there. I think he liked a lot of the people on that team. I think a handful of the guys that are still on that team are some of his very best friends.
Sure.
He left because the quarterback room there is so talented and was so crowded that there was a very real, if not certainly likely, chance that he would be the third-team quarterback again, which means often that you're running scout team because you can't get 3 quarterbacks ready a week. Can't be done. And so Walker Howard comes to Ole Miss. He didn't come to Ole Miss because he loves the square or because he just decided that, hey, I can't go a week without eating at St. Leo. He went to Ole Miss because there's more opportunity. Well, Spencer Sanders has 1 year of college eligibility left. He has 41 starts at Oklahoma State. Jackson Dart has more than a year left. Jackson could still conceivably play 2 years after this one. Jackson just turned 20 in May. So I'm confused by it. I get it. On one hand, hey, your job as a coach when you make $9 million a year is to bring in as many good players as you can and sort it out. But it's difficult for me to envision a scenario where both where both Spencer Sanders and Jackson Dart are happy. And so what happens to the one that's not happy?
Is Jackson Dart a graduate yet?
No.
Okay. So he can't leave in fall camp and go be immediately eligible somewhere.
No, so he spent one year at USC and then transferred to Ole Miss. So I imagine he's a smart guy, and given the way that everything speeds up now, he's probably fairly close to graduation at this point. But no, I don't think he's there. I don't think he could leave this summer, for example, and go to BYU or Utah and play.
Neal McCready's with us from Rebel Grove talking some Rebs as Lane Kiffin and the squad went today. Quinshon Judkins, that's a given. I mean, he's phenomenal. He set a freshman record last year with 15 rushing touchdowns at Ole Miss. When you start to make comps after just 1 year, what do people say? Best since, best along with, when you're looking at running backs with at Ole Miss there with Judkins?
Oh, I think the conversation is Deuce McAllister.
Wow.
I think it's kind of it. You look at the year that he had as a true freshman in the SEC, not many guys do that. I remember looking out on the field in Baton Rouge when Perkins was over there on defense and Judkins was on offense, and I thought those might be the 2 best freshmen in the league right there on the field together, and probably were. He was terrific. I mean, and I think he only fumbled one time. As a freshman, only fumbled one time. He had 200, and if I remember the number, 274 carries.
274.
And
for 1567. I shorted him. He was 16 touchdowns, not 15.
16 touchdowns. Yeah. Didn't put the ball on the ground. I think you're going to see him more involved in different parts of the offense this year. I think you're going to see them use him as a weapon out of the backfield. They might even line him up in the slot at times to throw people off. But the challenge for Ole Miss is going to be using him without wearing him down where there's nothing left in the last part of the season. But he's a beast of a running back, a great kid. He's a guy that could have gone anywhere. I mean, he could have had his people put out the feelers, and the tampering portal would have gone wild for him, and he stayed. So it's pretty interesting.
You call it the tampering portal?
The tampering portal. I mean, we have the tampering portal, then we have the transfer portal.
Oh, man. And I'm here for all of it, by the way. I don't care.
Look, it's good for us. It's more stuff for us to talk about. I mean, I'm not sure for fans. It's the one thing that I'll say about big picture college football. Every indication is stadium's going to be packed, right? Auburn just sold out of season tickets. I mean, they're excited about Hugh Freeze in year one, all that stuff. I'm sure tickets in Baton Rouge are hard to come by. People are excited down there, as they should be. I do wonder if over the course of time, if the rosters turn over so fast that you can't keep up with who's on the team, for teams that end up falling off a little bit, I wonder if attendance just collapses second halves of seasons.
I think the expanded playoff actually causes it to go the other way because more teams will be involved later. And for all the theory that an expanded playoff waters down the regular season, no. What it does, it gives more opportunities for teams to get in, to get a home game, to get a bye. You're playing for something.
Well,
more
think
teams
about
are
it.
Playing for something.
Think about it. Let's say you have a LSU.
You're an NBA guy. It's why the NBA's expanded deal was brilliant.
Yeah. If you're an LSU fan, right? Let's say your team's 8-2 after 10 games. So you got to win the last 2,
Yeah.
But you got to have some help. Well, all of a sudden, that Clemson-North Carolina game, I'm just pulling something out of the air, that you would have otherwise been like asleep. Now you're locked in.
Yeah.
I mean, you're dialed in on that thing because you really need North Carolina to beat Clemson or vice versa. You really need that game out in the Pac-12, that undefeated Pac-12 team. You need it to lose a game.
Yeah.
And suddenly you're watching that game in addition to watching, LSU, Alabama that week. You're still locked in on LSU. You're like, hey, we got to beat Alabama. We have to or else we're out. But if let's say LSU pulls it off, I mean, in the middle of your party, you're like, hey, we got to make sure we got this Pac-12 game on because we got to see if Oregon gets beat tonight, right? And so I do think from that perspective, from the sport as a national entity, I'm with you. I think a 12-team playoff is brilliant. Frankly, I think they ought to go to 16.
I agree. You know, it's funny, Neal, like we're all sports fans. We all watch sports in all these different leagues. Different sports have all of them have playoffs. All of them have meaningful games all throughout the regular season and late. And yet college football, like, nope, sanctity of the regular. It's like, what are you talking about?
It's
this isn't hard.
Like you mentioned, I'm a big NBA guy. My son's a huge NBA fan. He's a huge Oklahoma City Thunder fan. Right. Well, the Thunder got the 10 seed in the West, and they played New Orleans in that playoff. I know you're a Pelican guy. But the point is for him, that night as a fan,
huge.
When the Thunder beat the Pelicans, he was so excited. He was like, for a moment, it was like, oh, this young core of guys, look, we have arrived, and then 2 nights later, Minnesota crushed them. But still, it was fun, right? And had you not had that, the Thunder season would have been over a couple weeks earlier, and he kind of would have been checked out doing all the draft stuff.
Last thing for Neal McCready, Rebel Grove, always appreciate his time. 8-5 last year. What is a successful season for Ole Miss this year?
So I think it's 8-4 or anything 8-4 or better. Anything better than 8-4 is a really strong performance. 8-4 is pretty damn good. I think 7-5 would be acceptable. Anything less than that, I think people are going to be upset. But look, people expect a lot from Lane, but that schedule, and you've got it pulled up in front of you. Week 2 at Tulane is I think Ole Miss will be okay, but
and that's on campus too. That's at Yeoman.
I'm not going to be the guy that dismisses what Tulane did a year ago. I don't think that's fair to them. They beat USC in the Cotton Bowl, and you can say, well, USC was checked out. They were there.
Yeah, they were there.
And then there's 3 games, man. That second half, the first half of the season closes with at Alabama, at home against LSU, at home against Arkansas. So, I mean, at Alabama, it's very difficult to win in Tuscaloosa for anybody. I think LSU is the best team in the West. I think LSU is a legitimate national title contender. And then you look at that Arkansas game. That's KJ Jefferson's final game in his home state of Mississippi. He's going to be jacked up. And Arkansas, the last 2 years against Ole Miss, has scored 52 and 45 points.
Oh.
51 and 42 points. Still a ton of points. Yeah. So, I mean, to sit there and say that Arkansas is a certain win, that's not – it's hard to back that up. Yeah. So, it's conceivable that they could have 2 or 3 losses at the turn, and then you got to go to Auburn. Hugh Freeze is going to have his team ready. You still got to play Texas A&M. They got to go to Georgia. Have to go to Mississippi State. It's a difficult schedule.
Appreciate it as always, man. Neal McCready, rebelgrove.com. Make sure you follow him on Twitter as well. Thanks, Neal.
Thanks, Matt. Always appreciate you having me.
Matt Moscona and Neal McCready live from, I shouldn't say live, earlier today from Radio Row in Nashville. Grab a break, come back with more coverage of SEC Media Days on AFR. Stay here.
AFR.
Buying or selling commercial or residential, call Darren James and get your home sold. A lot of people think, you know what, I'm just going to do the for sale by owner route. Save the commissions. Well, a couple things. Number one, commissions are negotiable. If you're not aware of that, no matter who you hire to be your realtor, commissions are negotiable. So negotiate commissions. Darren encourages that, by the way. Also, 73%, nearly 3 out of 4 people that list their home for sale by owner end up hiring a realtor for a variety of reasons. Maybe it's not exactly sure how to price your home. Maybe you just can't be home for the showings at all times. That's why you got to hire Darren James. On the Wall Street Journal's list of the top 1% of realtors in America. Why would you hire anyone other than the best? You wouldn't. 335-7666 or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,500 off MSRP on all new 23 Ram 1500 Laramie trucks in stock. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Rev Business started small in 1935. We built our reputation by providing hometown service with Louisiana hustle. For nearly 90 years, we've expanded across our great state, through the swamps and across the Mississippi, bringing fiber optics from the capital to the North Shore and down the bayou to the coast, all to connect your business with the world. Rev is about big business technology with small business personal service, powerful solutions, unmatched local service. Rev Business.
Was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street. The best.
Live from the 2023 SEC Football Media Days presented by Hudco Roofing. After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
Let me remind you about Relief Windows, reliefwindows.com, reliefwindows.com. You know, I've talked about Relief Windows now here since 2015, and I love endorsing them and telling you about how great a company they are and great people that Brandon and Adrian Holly are, and every single measure tech and installer that may come to your house, how you can trust them and how they do exceptional work, how they've done work in my house. One thing we never talk about is price. And you know, with Relief Windows, they of course sell a premium product and they do a premium service and a premium job, and it's awesome. But they do offer discounts as well. So I would always encourage you, when you call Relief Windows to ask about those discounts. Like for example, if you buy an entry door and windows at the same time, they'll give you a 10% discount. So there's a lot of those things that are there as well. So I would always recommend when you give Relief Windows a call, ask them. It's always worth giving them a shout at Relief Windows. 288-8138, 288-8138 for Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com.
Earlier this week, Matt sat down with Mississippi State wide receiver Jaden Crumedy. We take you back out to Nashville and Radio Row.
Day 2, Radio Row, SEC Football Media Days. Hail State, the Bulldogs are here. Defensive tackle Jaden Crumedy joins us now. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic. I got to check out your kicks though. What you rocking, man?
Oh yeah.
What we got? Look at are those customs?
Yeah.
Hold on, you got to show the camera. I got to see these.
Can't show the camera.
Look right there. Can you show that camera?
Kick it up.
Yeah. Come on, man. We're all friends here. Look at that. What size is that?
15.
He's got those custom Adidas size 15s with the SEC logo on the back. Oh, and the state of Mississippi on the side. Respect, man. I got some Wolf Grays, some SBs. But hey, man, look, I'm sure you're asked a ton today about this, but your program went through, something none of us ever think we'd ever have to go through, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you lose Coach Leach. And as a veteran guy, can I just ask what it's been like, going through this offseason?
Really, like, it's been, tough sometimes, but, we all just keep pushing each other forward, making sure that everyone's, on their task. And with Coach Arnett, he's just making sure that everyone's, just like in the right spot, doing the right things, and really just been pushing everybody forward. So I feel like we've done a great job so far.
Do y'all played the bowl game last year? It was really cool, the logo with Coach Leach. Mm-hmm. Have y'all done anything as a program to honor him this year? Have you talked about that at all?
No, not really, not yet. I feel like we'll do some at some point, but not yet.
If I understand there's obviously a very real difference between talking about something as serious as what happened and then just football. But just from a football standpoint, if I could, what are the biggest differences with Mike Leach, who was such a zany character? Like, we loved Coach Leach coming here, and Coach Arnett, who appears a bit more stoic. Am I getting a good read on that?
Yeah, you are. I say with Coach Leach, he was, just like a little, real chill, laid back, let everything happen type of coach. And with Arnett, he's more focused and ready to get work done, and he's just ready for the season. I feel like, yeah.
You're a graduate, mm-hmm. So you're a guy who's able to take advantage of the extra year.
Yes,
right?
sir.
How different is it at this point in your career? So you're 22?
22, about to be 23.
You're about to be 23.
Next weekend.
So happy birthday.
Appreciate it.
July birthday right here as well to you. How different is it as almost 23-year-old playing college football as opposed to when you're 18, 19 years old?
I feel like being where I am now, more focused, taking care of your body more, gotta know like different playbooks, and you gotta know different schemes and things. So coming in as a freshman, I really wasn't like that focused, and I feel like I should have been locked in. Yeah. But I've been taking it serious, and I feel like I've been doing a great job and ready for the season, really.
Mississippi State defensive tackle Jaden Crumedy is with us here on Radio Row. You were part. No,
okay.
I'll give you one of those. Sorry, man. That's a gesture.
Okay.
You were part of the team, though. I'll do this, Ann. You were part of the team that went to Baton Rouge. We're on Baton Rouge. That went to Baton Rouge in 2020, that COVID year. And we got to see the KJ Costello game, threw over 600 yards in that game. It's a bad memory for LSU fans, but what was that like? What was it like watching that?
Really, it was real fun. It was a great experience. I ended up getting to sack that game too, and I feel like seeing that he could do that, we was really ready for him to do that the whole season, and the whole like going from that game, I just feel like we could have did anything and played anybody the same way. So I really feel good about that.
What's it like? You got to do it a couple times playing in Tiger Stadium.
It gets real loud, but it's real fun. I'd say that. Yeah.
What do you think about this season expectations? LSU is going to come to Mississippi State in week 3 there in Starkville. What are your thoughts on getting the Tigers back in Starkville?
I'm gonna just play it like any other game. I'm just go out there and give it my all.
You also get to play Arizona.
Yeah.
Which we don't just see a lot of SEC Pac-12 matchups. I mean, obviously you played there, now they're making the return trip, but do you sort of circle that game? Having that sort of like intersectional matchup?
Nah, I really haven't thought about it like that, but it is a little different, playing somebody all the way up there, and we all the way down here.
Yeah.
But it is different, so it'll be a great way to play people that's in a different conference and stuff like that.
I know you're from Mississippi. Mm-hmm. Did you grow up a State fan?
Nah.
Did you grow up watching college football much?
A little bit. I was watching LSU a little bit, but not.
All right,
not
there we
really.
go. A little Tiger Fest. See, we'll get it out of him eventually. So I'm sure you're going to go talk to the guys next to us. One guy's an Ole Miss guy. One guy is a Mississippi State guy over here. Like winning the Egg Bowl, like what does that mean for you?
I mean, that means a lot to me because, for one, being from Mississippi and going to a school in Mississippi, you know, you got to have that chip on your shoulder to, you know, want to have it at the school that you're at. So it does mean a lot to me.
All right, I'll give you one of these for real this time. I'll give you the fist bump for real. That is graduate senior defensive tackle Jaden Crumedy from Mississippi State. It's a pleasure, man. Have a great day. Thanks for the time.
I appreciate you.
Got to remind you about our friends over at DraftKings, official sports betting partner of ours here on AFR. Remember, right now, DraftKings is inviting all new users to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use the promo code Baton Rouge, make a $5 bet on anything. Futures bet on college football, NFL, Major League Baseball, any prop, whatever you want. $5 bet on anything right now at the DraftKings Sportsbook. With the promo code Baton Rouge, they'll give you $150 in bonus bets instantly. So, new customers, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. Maybe you've been using another app. Great. Perfect time to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use that promo code Baton Rouge and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's only at the DraftKings Sportsbook app with the promo code Baton Rouge. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Select pairs only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/baseball terms. Licensed partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-2537.
AFR.
Bayou Ford has $8,000 off MSRP, plus 1.9% financing on new 23 Ford F-150 XLT trucks, along with Bayou Ford's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Live from the 2023 SEC Football Media Days presented by Hudco Roofing. After further review with Matt Moscona. Presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
Final day here, Radio Row SEC Football Media Days. Hogs took their turn on Wednesday. Our buddy John Nabors from 103.7 The Buzz, good enough to join us. How are you, dude?
I am rolling. How about you?
The only person who even remotely challenges T-Bob's shirt selection is my guy John Nabors right here.
He's my inspiration.
That
I'm just
is
trying to
not
follow his suit.
Anything at all that you should say publicly ever. Hey, how did Sam Pittman do here yesterday?
I thought he did fine. You know, Sam Pittman is who he is. He's not going to roll in here and have some catchy phrases or try to throw jabs at anybody. You get him talking about football. That's what he likes talking about. He likes talking about beer. He'll make some jokes at his own expense, talking about singing with Foreigner and everything. So I thought he did fine. He's gotten better each year that he's been a part of SEC Media Days. He's getting a little bit more comfortable, and I honestly think it's because people embrace his personality, and that was something he was always so worried about in the beginning. Like, what do I need to say? How do I need to come across? Now that he has everybody loving him for just who he is, it makes him a lot more comfortable in these situations.
Yes, last year, I remember Chris Marler asked him, he said, "You're such a nice guy. Why do your schedule makers hate you?" I look at Arkansas this year, John, and I say, I think they're going to be way better than their record shows because the schedule is absolutely brutal. Is that fair?
I think it is, but honestly, the schedule to me is better than what it was last season. I mean, it's not easy.
It's better than last year.
It's not easy, but it's an improvement because at least last year, the SEC West is always going to be tough, but last year's non-conference, you had Cincinnati, who's coming off of a playoff appearance. You had Bobby Petrino in Missouri State. You had Hugh Freeze and Liberty, who they ended up losing to, and you had on the road against BYU. So overall, the schedule's really tough. It's not easy. It's easier than last season.
So, you surprised KJ Jefferson came back?
No, I'm not.
Okay, why?
From what I understand, the NFL scouts and people that he talked to, he had some work to do. And I think that he was hurt at times last year, didn't have the year he wanted. The season wasn't great. There was problems in the locker room. It just wasn't a time where he felt like it was best for him to leave. I think he still, in his own mind, has a lot to prove. He wants to adjust and adapt and improve his game in certain areas because he wants to be a first-round pick. He thinks he's that high caliber of a quarterback. And with Dan Enos coming in as the new offensive coordinator, somebody who's coached a lot of great quarterbacks, I think he realized, hey, this is a guy has proven to put dudes in the league. If I give him a chance to adjust those little things in my game, I'd rather stay a year, be a first-round pick, than leave right now and possibly be very late in the NFL draft, if at all.
I like Dan Enos a lot. His first go-round at Arkansas, I had so much respect for him, and I actually wanted to see LSU hire Dan Enos when they hired Jake Peets back in 2021. Has he changed at all, that at least that we know of, from the first go-round?
Not that I've seen, no. Okay. I mean, I know his offense, once we get it out on the field and be able to chance to see it in full motion, we'll have an idea of it. But the one thing that I was so surprised by, and I shouldn't have been, but I was surprised when Dan Enos came back, he said, we never wanted to leave here. We love it in Fayetteville. My family loves it in Arkansas, and we love Sam Pittman because if people may not remember, Brett Bielema, once Sam Pittman left for Georgia, Brett Bielema kind of took it a little personally and took jabs at him, said, well, there was problems with him and Enos. They just didn't get along when he was the offensive coordinator. They had different philosophies, and people took that to heart. It's like, oh, man, Pittman and Enos, they didn't like each other. So when Pittman hired Enos, it was like, wait a minute, I thought y'all hated each other. But, of course, it was an overblown situation. But Pittman loved what Enos did, and Enos loved working with Pittman. And I think that what Enos is walking into, he sees, hey, I got KJ Jefferson for 1 year at least. Like, I can work with this. So, yeah, he hasn't changed much at all. And the fact that he loves it so much at Arkansas and being in the state is something I know Razorback fans are very receptive to.
John Nabors is with us, 103.7 The Buzz, talking Hogs. So KJ is sort of the given. Do you agree? I've said a lot this week that I think it's the weakest quarterback year in the SEC since 2014. It's why guys like KJ and Jaden Daniels, Spencer Rattler, Will Rogers, they stand out because you just don't have a lot of established quarterbacks in the league.
I think that's fair. And I'm someone who loves KJ. I mean, I'm going to vote, or I did vote KJ as first-team All-SEC, but if people say Jaden Daniels, I'm not going to argue with them. I mean, those two are the two best quarterbacks. But I agree, overall, with a conference of 14 teams that has the best talent across the board, the quarterback class doesn't wow me. I mean, you look at these guys, and they're fine, but just having one or two guys, and that's it. Nobody else is even close to where they're at, and there's a lot of mystery, and new quarterbacks coming in don't really know what they're going to do. Yeah, I'm not disappointed with it. It's just a little surprising that we would still have one of these years considering SEC talent across the board.
It's weird.
All right, getting set to put a button here on hour number 2 of After Further Review. That was Matt Moscona and John Nabors. Of course, John, good friend of the show, 103.7 The Buzz up in Little Rock. They're up in Arkansas covering the Hogs. We, as I said, getting set to wrap up hour number 2 here. Still plenty to come. Kick you off in the next hour. David Cohn from Crain and Company. Matt sat down with him, and we'll bring back, of course, as we do every year, Matt's conversation with SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey. So that's all ahead in the next hour. It's still coverage from SEC Football Media Days, brought to you by Hudco Roofing, as it has been all week, and, of course, also Rev and Relief Windows here locally. So 2 hours in the book. Musso kind of anchoring the show here today as Scone, Hester, Rivs, and T-Bob make their way back from Nashville. It's really odd the way that event ends around 2 o'clock right before Matt's show. It'll be actually interesting to see next year when they add Texas and Oklahoma to the league how the schedule changes around SEC Media Days. So you just add one team on the front, add one team on the end, and have 4 straight days of 4 teams. I mean, that obviously makes the most sense to me. Putting 5 teams in one day twice is kind of asking for a lot, but we will see. Maybe this is one of the last years we do a show like this. Maybe next year Matt is still live. Either way, we're back next here on AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Next.
AFR.
Always a pleasure to tell you about our friends at the Williamson Eye Center. Check them out online at williamsoneye.com. They've got locations all over the greater Baton Rouge area. On the Baton Rouge General Campus, I mean, you turn off a Bluebonnet onto Picardy, you make that right. And then right there at the stop sign, the building on the right, the first 2 floors, that's the Williamson Eye Center, state-of-the-art dry eye center, and it's full service. Of course, they have their state-of-the-art surgery center there where you can have your LASIK or whatever surgical procedure you're having. But they have your standard annual eye exam as well at the Williamson Eye Center. Learn more at williamsoneye.com. The thing I tell you every day is take the advice that I was given and change your life. To give yourself the gift of sight is absolutely incredible. If you're someone like me who spent your life with contacts or glasses, there is a way to be done with it forever. WilliamsonEye.com. Go see Dr. Blake Williamson for that free consultation. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com for the Williamson Eye Center.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. Public records revealed the finalists for the top cop job at LSU, and the WBRZ investigative unit uncovered 2 out of the 4 have big problems. It's unknown tonight if that baggage is known to those making the top pick, but one was implicated in a party bus killing after a fight. Another, the focus of a federal discrimination lawsuit. Find out what we uncovered. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
Rev Business started small in 1935. We built our reputation by providing hometown service with Louisiana hustle. For nearly 90 years, we've expanded across our great state, through the swamps and across the Mississippi, bringing fiber optics from the capital to the North Shore and down the bayou to the coast, all to connect your business with the world. Rev is about big business technology with small business personal service, powerful solutions, unmatched local service. Rev Business.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,500 off MSRP on all new 23 Ram 1500 Laramie trucks in stock. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown with breaking news. Josh Harris is now the new owner of the Washington Commanders. Harris already owns the NBA 76ers and the NHL Devils. He buys the team from Daniel Snyder, who will pay a $60 million fine to the league for workplace misconduct and possible business improprieties. At SEC Media Days today in Nashville, Ole Miss coach Lane Kiffin with some sharp words about the state of college football.
Just like when everybody was like, oh, we got this NIL, it's great. And then, in this portal, it's great. Whoa. And I'm not saying I was the only one saying it. I'm like, whoa, this is a disaster coming because you just legalized cheating. And you just told donors they can pay the players.
Kiffin says the college landscape is now professional sports without a salary cap or a luxury tax. After the first round of the Open Championship at Royal Liverpool, there's a three-way tie for the lead at 5 under. England's Tommy Fleetwood, Argentina's Emiliano Grillo, and Georgia Tech's Christo Lamprecht.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Final hour here on a Thursday edition of AFR presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. If you're just hopping in your car, getting off work, Musso anchoring the show, holding down the fort here today as the crew makes it back from Nashville. But we've just been playing audio from SEC Media Days all day long. Matt recorded a bunch of content before packing up the equipment, the bags, and getting on a bird back to Baton Rouge earlier today. So we've been running through all of it for you. We've had Jayson Swain, we've had Chuck Oliver and Neal McCready, Jake Crain. Now we go to, Jake Crain's show, Crain and Company. We had Crain. Now we go to Company. That's David Cohn. Matt Moscona sat down with him earlier today. So back up to Radio Row we go.
Final day here, Radio Row, SEC Football Media Days from Crain and Company. It's our buddy David Cohn. How are you, Cohn?
Doing well, Matt Moscona. How are you?
Doing great, man. It was love coming to this event. Get to talk football for 4 days. It's a really good thing to do in July.
No doubt.
I think for those that don't know, I'll remind David from the state of Georgia, played football at the University of Michigan, quarterback under Rich Rod. So big 6'7" lumbering quarterback for a coach that, Played shoelace. Right?
Well, Lloyd Carr brought me in.
Right.
Coach Carr brought me in. And if there was ever a university you thought would be a drop-back passing school, a la Tom Brady and Brian Greasy and Elvis Gerbach, it would be Michigan. And
Josh Henson.
Yeah, and then 2 years in, Rich Rodriguez comes in, and, that pretty much meant I was never going to play football there. But I did get my degree, and for whatever that's worth, and now I get to be here talking college football with you, buddy.
That's awesome, man. I do want to talk quarterbacks with you to maybe go a little deep dive there. I've said this a lot, so my audience has heard me say it, but so I apologize for that, but I'll get your perspective. I think this is the weakest quarterback year in the league since 2014.
In the SEC, only the SEC. Okay.
Not in the country.
Not around the country.
No, the country.
Pac-12's got something to say about that.
No. The country, this could be one of the deepest quarterback drafts we've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
When you look at the quarterbacks in the league at the start of the season, what do you see?
Well, I'll tell you what. I got to spend some time with your guys, Jaden Daniels, this week. First time that I've met him in person. I really like that kid, man. Really good vibes. I watched him play even as a true freshman at Arizona State. One of the few quarterbacks who would line up under center over there in Herm Edwards' system, and that really stood out to me. And he was very thin, very skinny. And he's put on so much weight, had a lot of good positive vibes. I asked him about the ankle, how the rehab was going. I really like that kid, man. And obviously the FSU-LSU matchup that first week is going to be one of the most anticipated games I can remember in college football. But then you look around the league, I mean, look, Spencer Rattler was extremely overhyped last year at the beginning of the season. People put him in the top 3 quarterbacks around the country. That was just absurd, but it was a great get for Shane Beamer. I think he's being appropriately hyped right now because if he can start the season how he finished up last year, he's going to be a really good quarterback. Can KJ Jefferson at Arkansas stay healthy? That's a big question. We had Coach Pittman on our show yesterday. He admitted to us Arkansas is going to throw the ball more now that Kendall Browse is out at OC. So let's see what happens there. The big question for me is at Alabama. I mean, the last 4 guys they've had there are not only playing on Sundays, but they seem to break each other's records every single season. And one of them became the highest paid player in the NFL just a couple months ago. So not having a guy that you can rely on consistently, that's going to be a little bit unusual in Tuscaloosa. And, I'm looking around like Texas A&M. What's going to happen out there?
Yeah.
I mean, your old boy Max Johnson transferred out there, really steadied the program last season after a couple bad losses, and Haynes King was proven not to be the guy. Our boy Billy Lucci thinks Connor Wegman's going to be the guy out there at Texas A&M. I don't know. I still think we may see Max Johnson start some games for them.
That's interesting because, you mentioned about the A&M folks talking about Haynes King. Last year at this thing, all the A&M folks were hyping up Haynes King.
Yes.
And now it's, Connor Wegman's the guy.
Yep.
And I don't know, man. There is something just old, trusting, and reliable about Max Johnson.
Coach's son, Super Bowl champ son, and obviously on our show and everywhere around the country, they've been talking a lot about how the Bobby Petrino and Jimbo Fisher relationship is going to work, especially in mid-games on play calls. But here's a question that I'll ask you. What happens if there's a disagreement even before we get to in-game play calls? What happens if there's a disagreement in fall camp where you get someone like Bobby Petrino saying, hey, there's old trusty reliable right there. I know Max Johnson's not going to turn the football over, but Jimbo Fisher gets in a similar situation as last year, sees the playmaking ability of someone like Connor Wegman the same way he saw it in Haynes King. You might have something, a little bit of friction in fall camp.
If I gave you one quarterback in the league from the onset, so here's your guy you're rolling the whole season with, pick anybody, who would you take?
I would take your guy, Jaden Daniels. Now, in certain situations, I understand why so many people love KJ Jefferson. I need to see the accuracy in the intermediate game a little bit more. Now, obviously, we still need to see that Jaden Daniels has fully recovered from that ankle injury. Maybe you can speak to it a little bit more than I can with your insider access. I want to talk about Joe Milton for a second at Tennessee. Joe Milton from Pahokee, Florida, where my dad's from. My dad's from Belglade. I watched this kid when he came up, committed to Michigan. He was named the starter at Michigan. He sat behind Shea Patterson, started those 3 games in the COVID year. Cade McNamara ends up winning that job. And the next season, Cade leads Michigan to 12 wins. Then he got his job taken by J.J. McCarthy, who just won 13 games. So, look, I get Coach Harbaugh at Michigan has recruited some really good quarterbacks, but Joe Milton struggled with some of the things that he struggled with at Tennessee when he was named the starter there, and immediately Hendon Hooker comes in and takes the job. Obviously, he has the strongest arm in the country, probably. I think Will Rogers at Mississippi State just said Joe Milton has the strongest arm that he's seen, even including the NFL guys. But he's still overthrowing the deep ball when we saw him start over Hendon Hooker at Tennessee. Has he been able to fix that problem, and has he been able to add touch to his game? Now, to answer your question on best in the league again, I'm a huge Will Rogers fan, but here's why I didn't put him at number 1 right off the bat, is because I want to see what does he look like when he's not in a Mike Leach-led air raid system. A 70% completion percentage that he had last year, unbelievable. That just blows you away, especially as someone who was struggling to hit 60% completion percentage a lot of time. But, a lot of those numbers there being in an air raid system. So what is he going to look like when they get into a little bit more of a under center drop back passing situation?
Zaxby's or Raising Cane's?
Well, it's always going to be Zaxby's for me because the very first Zaxby's is in my hometown of Statesboro, Georgia. I think I went on my first date at the original Zaxby's. So Raising Cane's is never going to be able to make chicken good enough for me to forget my roots, okay? But here's what I say to Raising Cane's fans. I say this. I say I love Raising Cane's. You know why? Because it's a direct copy of Zaxby's, and they did a good job copying it. So that's why I won't say anything bad about it.
That is a fundamental absurdity.
Oh.
Why didn't we end up doing the taste test? Weeks ago messaged me. He's like, hey, I want you to do a blind taste test of Zaxby's and Cane's. If at this point in my life I can't pick out a Raising Cane's chicken finger, don't even let me back in the state.
It's not too late, buddy. It's not too late. You're still here. I'm still here.
Well, you go.
Let's get the wings in hot and fresh here.
DoorDash us some chicken fingers. And let's make that happen.
So you're a big Raising Cane's fan, huh?
I think they're great. Yeah,
I do too.
Job.
They copied Zaxby's well.
Zaxby's isn't actually very good. It's very bland and generic, and at least Raising Cane's has their own sauce. Hey, Cane's or Zaxby's? Cane's.
As he asked the guys here right next to him, the LSU guys.
They're not LSU. They're from Mississippi.
LSU guys. I'm not buying it.
They're from Mississippi. Cane's or Zaxby's? Cole.
Zaxby's. Right, Cole Kublik? Oh, he said Chick-fil-A. That's also acceptable. I do remember the first time I had Raising Cane's. I was like, did they just move into an old Zaxby's and change the sign here? This is the exact same.
If you think it's the exact same, that is indisputable evidence that you cannot taste.
We have got to do this blind taste test, man.
All right, we'll do it. He's David Cohn, Crain and Company. Catch it on YouTube every weekday. Just go check out the Crain and Company YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe up. You can follow him on Twitter at David Adam Cohn. He had to have the middle name so people didn't mistake him for the pitcher. Give me a good story about being.
I would never pitch for the Mets. Never. I don't like the Yankees, but I'd still pitch for them. I mean, they're the Yankees at the end of the day.
David Cohn is not a Mets pitcher.
He did pitch for the
Yankees
Mets.
Pitcher. He is known for winning World Series and throwing a perfect game with the Yankees. Nobody remembers David Cohn with the Mets or cares that David Cohn ever played for the Mets or the Blue Jays.
I'll do you one better than those three teams. The only time I've seen him in person, I was at a Braves game at Turner Field. I think I was 12 years old. He did a short stint with the Red Sox and was in their bullpen. And my dad was like, look, there's David Cohn down there.
Wait, so give me a story, though, of you have to have tons of them, of people mistaking you for the pitcher. Does it happen on Twitter every day?
Almost every day, for sure, every week. But yeah, I mean, I've introduced myself, for my entire life, and there's always someone who says, "Oh, like the pitcher," Yeah. And so, every time it just builds up a little bit, more. And here I am thinking, well, I'm going to the NFL. I'm playing quarterback mission. I'm going to go to the NFL. People are going to ask him if he's the quarterback, David Cohn. That's my life goal.
Are you the dad of the quarterback? How about that?
No. Well, yeah. My
dad.
Here's how my dad tells the story. He says he named me about 3 weeks before David Cohn made his major league debut, and he was furious. He said, because I want you to play sports, and my father tried to convince me until I was about 10 years old to go by my middle name. And I just, hard-headed kid, I just refused. Now my son Adam is named after me and has my middle name.
Love it.
But here is how this story has played out. I always wanted to know: does David Cohn, the pitcher, even know I exist? Does he?
All right, we got to grab a break. We're going to come back on the other side. Let you hear Matt's conversation with SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey from earlier in the week. Driving you home here on a Thursday edition of AFR. Stick around.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. You always get to Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Told you about this yesterday. If you haven't done so yet, be sure to go check out Rouse's on social media. If it's Instagram or Facebook. Rouse's launched, as announced, I should say, the launch of a really cool new program that they're doing at all of their Rouse's locations. You can read about it all at any of the Rouse's social media. It's the Buy 4, Save More program that's going on that they've just launched at Rouse's. It's going to allow you to buy and try new wines and different wines and interesting wines. So if you love wine and you want to try new stuff, it's a great way to do it at Rouse's. You can get great deals on select wine and spirits in-store, and they'll give you an extra 10% off your total purchase if you buy at least 4 bottles of wine or spirit. So go check it out. It's the Buy 4, Save More program at Rouse's, where you can mix and match. That's at Rouse's. This feels like home.
This summer, retirement is a state of mind. Whether it's a mid-morning activity or an early bird special, grab a Coors Light and chill like you're retired.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,500 off MSRP on all new 23 Ram 1500 Laramie trucks in stock. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done, or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal.
Live from the 2023 SEC Football Media Days presented by Hudco Roofing. After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
Mold Zero USA, mold-0usa.com, mold-0usa.com. Tell you every day, kill mold, remove odor, kill dozens of other pathogens. Mold Zero USA. They'll always give you that free estimate. If you want to learn more about the process, I get it. It's different. You have mold people usually are thinking, now we got to cut sheetrock. It's going to be messy. It's going to be intrusive. Nah, with Mold Zero. They come in, they spray their patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. It's easy. It's all hooked up to a truck, all the hoses and everything. They'll pull up, they'll walk in, they'll spray the whole house. The fog will touch everything in the house. You let it dwell, it'll kill the mold, the spores, all of it. And then you just wait for the fog to dissipate and go right back in your home, your mold-free, clean-smelling home. You want to learn more about the process? Little or no demolition required. You want to learn more what the Army Corps of Engineers has to say? It's all there. mold-0usa.com.
Pleasure to be joined by SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey, his 9th year at the helm of the league. How are you, sir?
I'm a big fan of wings, so I walked in and turned on the ad right at the right time.
Your favorite wing sauce?
Oh, just traditional buffalo.
Buffalo? Do you go like
New York guy?
Mild? That's true. We've talked about
Probably
that.
medium would be safe. I've done the hot stuff before, but that was in my younger days.
Isn't it one of those things where like you'd rather do the thing that you can actually enjoy and it's not going to make you completely uncomfortable or miserable for like a week? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
If we're talking about wings, absolutely.
Of course we are. Earlier last week we learned that about your contract extension, so you'll be here through 2028. That's the deal. And don't take this wrong way, I was a little surprised to see 58 years old. So you got the job when you were 49?
51.
Is my math terrible?
Let's see. It was 2015. No, I turned 51, so I was 50 when I was announced.
So
I started. Yeah.
Have you thought about how long you want to do this?
I was asked at the press conference back in March of 2015 about how I would view my legacy, which I hadn't even started the job, and I'm defining my legacy.
Right.
And I took a step back, and I remember the question vividly. I said, in 15 years when I'm through, so that's till I'm 65. If there were a bunch of student athletes, they'd be in their late 30s all the way down to early 20s who said, I'm really glad he led us during this period of time. That would be my legacy. That would be my desire. I think that's still true, but it set up it for 15 years. I'm in year 9, so I'm over the halfway point. Yeah. But my 2 predecessors went until they were 72, so there's a lot of runway left.
Yeah,
I don't know if that makes fans happy or mad.
No, I think it's a great thing. I mean, and I think about your time. It's hard to believe it's almost been a decade, but it's I'm sure it's hard for you to believe as well.
The hardest thing for me is, or just the most surprising or unexpected reality is, I went from being the newest of the autonomy conference commissioners, the Big Five, and all of a sudden I was the longest tenured, and it's not relatively close.
Yeah.
And we had all this turnover in 19, 20, and then last year in 22 with the Big 12 change, and I went from being the newest to the most experienced. It's like, wow. Became a grandfather last week, so we had a big week.
Congratulations.
The Predator sent me a bubble hockey game, so those 3 big events, contract, grandchild, and a free bubble hockey game for my office, if you know what that is. But what the contract does is kind of sets a horizon out there. Presidents wanted to show that kind of support and commitment for me, which is appreciated. Yeah. And I think we've had a really good run for 8 years. Nothing's been easy. Nothing will be easy. But there's a lot of great opportunity ahead in this league.
Yeah, man. I mean, when you came into the league, I don't think the vision was adding 2 more schools, a pandemic, a lot of things that have happened. I mean, Dr. O'Neal, who we know well from obviously being in Baton Rouge, she just presented in the main room. I mean, there's been a lot of progress made in a lot of different areas.
I walked into a great situation. Thanks to my predecessor, Mike Slive. Actually, Jay Gouge was the president at Auburn University. When I took over, he called me and said, hey, a lot of people think you want to take over an organization that's kind of at the bottom and build it back up. And he said, you want to take over a great organization and make it better. And he said, that's what you're doing. And he said, you don't have to make huge changes. But he said, this first year you ought to make 50 little changes to put your stamp on things. And start thinking about that. The tradition of a new conference commissioner is they change the logo, they print a poster, and move the office.
Is that true?
Do that right away. And so if you can make it through not doing those things, it allows you to focus on things. And we did 50 little things. Some people would notice, like this movement of media days, nobody else does this. It was an idea that we had back then. The concert that we were going to have last night till the rain and storms got us, that was hatched in 2015, and some of those things take time to realize, but you can see change and progress around us. Katie O'Neal's a rock star, in my opinion. We had made an effort to hire a chief medical advisor in about 2016. He's now the NFL's chief medical officer, so we've got an eye for talent. We talked to some others, never found it. And the opportunity out of COVID was we came to know Dr. O'Neal, how effective she is, how knowledgeable, how her ability to cross disciplines. So she's got an infectious disease immunology background, but can talk to orthopedists and mental wellness and builds a trust with even student athletes that she might meet for the first time. So we want to keep making that sort of progress.
Greg Sankey is with us. Nick Saban told a story about going to Italy. Do you travel in the off season?
I do, but I traveled to Dublin in 16-17. And Nick and I were talking, so he's like, I get roll-tided when I'm over in Italy. I made a trip to Ireland. And so my wife and I are in Killarney, Ireland, 2016. I've been commissioner for years, so nobody really knows me. I did not have a logo on. My wife had a pullover with an SEC logo. We take a jaunting cart, which is a two-wheeled cart pulled by a horse, somebody else driving it, I'm riding. We get up, and there's a chain of lakes, and you're in a little, it's a big wooden canoe sort of thing with a motor on it. You navigate down, and you end up at a castle outside Killarney. And they're walking at me are 4 LSU fans who instantly recognized me. We took pictures. Two were from Chattanooga, two couples, 2 husband and wives, and one from Houston. And then the next year I went back to Dublin, and I'm in a pub, and there's a South Carolina soccer player that I had my picture taken with in the fall. So you don't really escape it, which is pretty cool. We've got a little place in upstate New York where I grew up, and we haven't traveled internationally since we bought that place. That's my getaway right now.
Yeah. Greg Sankey is with us here from Ready to Row SEC Football Media Days. I know you get asked all the questions, but there's a lot of the same stuff. But a few things that I do want to talk about. Realignment is a thing that's obviously happening. Texas and Oklahoma will come in next year. By the way, do you say Texas and Oklahoma, or do you say Oklahoma and Texas?
I say Oklahoma and Texas.
Why?
That's the alphabetical.
Okay. It's a good explanation.
Order. Yeah.
That keeps you clean, right? Hands clean. I wonder, because, like, it's a thing, like, with, do you say Alabama, Auburn, or Auburn, Alabama with the Iron Bowl
Depends
game?
where I am.
Yeah, right?
Same for Georgia, Florida, Georgia.
Bingo. See? I mean, you could always go with the band, Florida, Georgia line.
Sure,
Florida,
that's they get to name themselves. Yeah. I pivot around the game.
But do you have, like, a grand master, like, what-if plan somewhere in your office, scenarios in case something unfolds?
For some things we do. Yeah, for some things we do. The way I look at strategic planning is that we're really talking about strategic thinking. And if you bind yourself to this year-long effort, collect all this information, produce a plan, that plan is likely irrelevant a week later in this environment. And my strategic thinking approach is put yourself out. So let's just take my contract extension. Where do we want to be in 5 years? Figure out what I think will happen, what might be the ideal state, and what might be some scenarios, and then work back through essentially mile markers along the way. What do you have to think about? What do you have to do? What do you have to adjust? I did that in 2015 when I went through the search process. So when I had the first meeting of presidents and chancellors where I was in charge and the training wheels were off, I had a whole curriculum on here's what the things we're going to have to look at. The challenge for me right now is my day job is so intense and so full that finding time to think that way is very different than it would have been like during the interview process. And so that do we have every scenario planned? No, because you're going to chase your tail. Are there things we think about? One of the first times you and I talked about in depth was weather, hurricanes. Yeah. You go back to the 2016 season. Do we have a perfect plan? No. Do we have every contingency covered? No. Do we have contingencies covered very differently now? Absolutely. Our weather communication during the week and game day, the way we handle things. There's a lot that's changed, and there's a lot that has to continue to change. Katie just talked about medical timeouts, which are preparatory meetings, so that if you do have a Damar Hamlin situation, we've been very intentional about how we're going to react. It doesn't mean it'll be perfect, but it does mean you're prepared. So those are examples of some of the scenario planning, but really big picture strategic thinking and how I take an approach.
What about expansion of the league?
16 is a beast. There was a lot of conversation after Destin. Well, they're only playing 8 games. How can he let them only play 8 games? Then we had 2 weeks. We had this really cool program where he said, here's the matchups. And all you heard after was, wow, look at those schedules. Those schedules are tough 16 times over. we're going to have, when Oklahoma and Texas join, the last 25 years, we're going to have 8 of the national championship programs from those last 25 years. And I was trying to run through, so you'll have USC and Ohio State and Clemson and Florida State. So there are 4 programs in the nation that won national championships in that period, and we'll have 8 beyond those 4, the 4 that aren't in the SEC. And so I think there's a weight there. I'm not a recruiter. I'm very attentive to what's happening around me, very attentive, including watching messaging today from some people about what's happening. But I don't think we just have to move because of the strength that's inherent. What we have to do is operate really, really well. That's our responsibility.
I mean, I know your focus is obviously going to be on your league, but is realignment across college football, has that been a good thing?
Depends where you are. I think it's done nothing but enhance the Southeastern Conference, and I think that will be true going forward. You have to go back and look over history. You know, when the SEC was formed in 1932-33, that group left the Southern Conference. There were 13 schools. 10 of them remain. 3 don't. 2 of those 3 are in other Division I conferences. Has that been good? It's been reality, and we're going to make a success out of those realities. We've added Arkansas and South Carolina, both wins. Texas A&M and Missouri, I think both wins. And now Oklahoma and Texas, which will both be wins. And so I think it's been good for us. Now remember, we're not recruiters, and I'm not a recruiter. And you've watched others who've been very specific in their pursuit. They've pursued, the Big East doesn't exist essentially because the ACC took its members. Big Ten took 1. The Big Ten's accumulated members from the Big East, from the ACC, from the Big 12 and the Pac-12 over time. Is that good or bad? It's taken place, and I think it's been healthy for us.
I know we're short on time, but am I oversimplifying it if I say to get to a 9-game schedule, the television partner has to sweeten the pot?
That's way oversimplifying.
Okay.
I don't think money leads you in these decisions. It follows. And elements of that are what's going to happen with the college football playoff. We have programs that are very intent on bowl access. Third is, where do we prioritize rivalry games? What we have done with the removal of divisions is allow our teams to play each other more frequently across the entire conference. I think that's really healthy. Conversations with TV are part of it, but they're not at the forefront, and I don't think they should be. If you make really good decisions, you're going to have economic opportunities.
He is Greg Sankey, Commissioner of the SEC. Always very generous with your time, and I know you got a lot more to do, so we appreciate it very much for stopping by.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here. If we have SEC media days without the media, when we just have SEC days. So we appreciate those of you in the media who attend and make this event really what it is, which is something special, unique, and an opportunity to celebrate the game in the middle of summer.
Where are you going to be opening weekend?
I'm going to be opening weekend is here with Vanderbilt in Hawaii, but that's
not week 0.
Next week, Missouri on Thursday, here early Saturday for Virginia and Tennessee, late Saturday in Charlotte for North Carolina, South Carolina, and then I hear there's a game in Orlando on Sunday where my attendance is planned.
I think that's going to be a pretty fun one.
Oh, last year, doggone it, but yeah, it'll be a scene.
Can you push Verge and the guys to get us a week 0 game from now on when that's going to happen, so Florida State doesn't have the advantage playing Duquesne to work out the bugs?
Yeah, that bothered me too, greatly.
Thank you again for the time. Appreciate it sincerely.
Yep, good to see you,
Matt and SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey, their annual chat at SEC Football Media Days. Grab a break, come back, shifted back towards LSU, bring you back to Monday, let you hear from LSU running back Josh Williams when he sat down with Matt. That's next on AFR. Stay here.
AFR is brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, and Bluebonnet. Dine in or carry out 28 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer, full-service bar, sports on TV. My goodness, there's something going on at Pluckers every night of the week. What more could you possibly want? How about sandwiches? Well, they've got those. What about salads? Pluckers actually has really underrated salads. Giant, gorgeous, fresh salads. You can actually eat healthy at Pluckers. Or you could just binge. Award-winning jumbo chicken wings tossed in your favorite sauce. You want to create your own menu item? Do it. They encourage the creativity. Great sides as well, like the cheese fries, the El Guapo dip, maybe the homemade blue cheese potato chips, holy macaroni, fried pickles. They got it all at Pluckers. Nicholson, just south of campus. Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. The best place to watch the game, which game? Any game, is at Pluckers, because you can eat wings, drink beer, and watch sports on TV. Remember, at Pluckers, if you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Ford has $8,000 off MSRP, plus 1.9% financing on new 23 Ford F-150 XLT trucks, along with Bayou Ford's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Make this summer your backyard party year with Chris's Specialty Foods. Wings, burgers, brisket, steak, and boudin, plus great Cajun side dishes. We do all the prep, and you enjoy laughing with friends and family. Chris's Specialty Foods, Millerville, New Orleans, Prairieville, and Frisco.
Everybody loves Chris's authentic Cajun meat.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most.
Live from the 2023 SEC Football Media Days presented by HUDCO Roofing. After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
Quick reminder about Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service, shawbillstire.com. With 19 locations all over the state of Louisiana, 18 locations, all over the state of Louisiana. The latest is in LaPlace. Hey, remember, I got to remind you, this Friday, mark this down. It's 2 days, this Friday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Airline Highway location in Baton Rouge. Shaw Bills is having a hiring blitz. If you are looking for a job, if you have a job but you want a career that will afford you advancement and great benefits, if you have experience in the automotive service industry or have no experience whatsoever, Shaw Bills wants to talk to you. They're a great company, family-owned and operated, have been for more than 50 years. You can learn more at shawbillstire.com. You can apply online at shawbillstire.com or
this Friday. Again, go to their Hiring Blitz Friday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Airline Highway location in Baton Rouge. Shaw Bills, where we keep you rolling.
Kind of begin to take things here full circle as we put a button on SEC football media days. Let's go back to Monday. LSU kicked the whole thing off. Matt sat down with running back Josh Williams.
Radio Row SEC Football Media Days, Day 1. The Tigers kicking it off. Senior running back Josh Williams, good enough to spend a couple of minutes with us. How are you, man?
Doing well.
Bro, you went heavy on the purple and gold threads. All right, explain the fit for me first.
This is my dad's idea. He wanted to go LSU all out, and I kind of just wanted to be more brown, chill.
Yeah.
So he was like, okay, well, let's go with the eyes inside. So we got the LSU Tigers eyes inside of the suit.
Show that camera right there.
So, yeah, this is pretty cool.
I gotta get a picture of it too. For those listening, not watching, I will tweet a picture right here. I will tweet the picture. That's fire. Who did the suit?
My dad's friend in Dallas, I believe. I have to get the name. I'll get the name.
All right, man. I mean, so you're from Houston, though, and your story is one that I think most people who love college football will look and relate to, because I mean it's an underdog story, right?
Right.
Do you identify yourself in that way?
I don't necessarily identify in that way, but I have embraced it. I will say that. I will say that in high school I never really went to any football camps, so I never necessarily thought that I would even have a chance to get scholarships. So I knew I would have to, if I wanted to play on that level, I knew I would have to walk on to get there. So when I got there, I knew that it was going to be a struggle. It was going to be some ups and downs, especially being there in the 2019 year with one of the best teams of all time.
Yeah.
I already knew what it was, so I didn't whine. I knew what the business side was. My dad explained to me, like, hey, this isn't high school. This is a business. This is a cash flow business that they're trying to win the national championship, and it's not about who he likes more. It's about who's going to give him the best chance to win the game. So once I understood the business side of it, I kind of changed my whole perspective on a lot of things.
Is there a moment where, when you got to school, so I think this is the first time you and I have actually had a chance to talk. Was there a moment when you got to school where you looked around and went, man, like, I'm not ready yet?
No, definitely. I mean, I came into LSU as a freshman walk-on that nobody knows, and then I got hurt like 2 weeks later and 3 weeks later, and then I'm just in the back burner. Nobody knows who I am, and I'm in the background of the year, So I just kind of like, I had a lot of talks with my dad, a lot of deep talks with my dad, and he just basically told me, like, hey, life isn't about like all positivity. You're gonna have some adversity. This is what life is about. Like, if you really want this, this is what you're gonna have to do. So he said he couldn't help me. Like, I can be there and talk to you all you want, but you're just something that you're gonna have to go out and do as a man on your own. So I took that to heart, and I was like, yes, sir.
It's great perspective. Josh Williams is with us. Just one follow-up to that. Was there a moment where you felt like you did belong, where you're like, yeah, I'm here?
Yeah, there was definitely some situations where you said, like, I felt like I did good.
Where you did, where you're like, yeah, man.
And then I maybe didn't get the reps I felt like I deserved afterwards. Yeah, sometimes I felt like I was doing better than most guys, and I didn't get the quote-unquote the reward or whatever. But it never stopped me. It doesn't really even faze me, honestly. I don't have to be the best guy on the team or everybody in everybody's face. It's not about that for me. It's never has been. So I'm just excited to be here and it's an opportunity, honestly.
One of the things we talked about a lot last year, I remember T-Bob and I do a post-game show, and remember we got toward the end of the season, or maybe middle of the season, someone said, of all the guys on the roster, if you need a yard, and I know someone's going to give me two and is going to hold on to the ball, it's like, I want Josh to carry the ball. And it's odd because we all do have that perception of, okay, well, you were a walk-on, and there's other guys who are 4- and 5-star guys or whatever. And, like, you took on this leadership role in the offense. Is that something that it was intentional for you? Because some guys Some guys are very vocal. They want to be the leader up front. Some guys, it's more just,
I'm opposite. I'm not the vocal leader. I'm not the guy to speak up and talk. That's not me at all. I'm the opposite guy. I'd rather go out there and just lead by my actions and I'd rather go up to somebody and talk to them one-on-one and have that relationship with them rather than yell to the whole team and tell everybody what to do. That's more my approach on the thing. But Coach Kelly sat me down. After the season, he said he wanted me to become more of a vocal leader, especially with me going through this injury this past spring, not being able to be on the field as much and actually be out there physically. So I really took the time to become more of a vocal leader and be confident in talking and speaking to people.
How healthy are you? How you feel?
I'm 100%. I got cleared a week after the spring game, so I've been going full go this whole summer with the team runs, the workouts, everything. So
did such a difference this year going into the season than a year ago? I'm sure you had to answer this a ton today, but there's a lot of running backs in the room now. Adding Logan Diggs, bringing in the 2 freshmen, Armani's healthy again. Like, do you all talk about how do you feed that many mouths?
Well, ultimately, we all understand that Coach Kelly is the one that puts the player in the game. You all understand that. So it's not up to us. We also understand that this isn't about who is going to play the most reps and who gets to do this and who gets to do that. This is strictly about who's going to give us the best chance to win the game. So I understand that if Coach Kelly wants to go with Logan, that's his grand decision on what he wants to go with to win the game. It's the same thing. I look at it, this is my perspective on it. I'm playing Madden. And
I love where he's going.
I'm playing Madden, and I'm playing with the All-Star team, and I got Barry Sanders in the game. And I'm the coach. I control the game, so I want to put Bo Jackson in the game. Doesn't mean that one of the two one is better than the other. It's just my personal opinion on what I think should go for the game right now at this place and time. So we all understand that, and I think once you understand that, you become closer as a team, become more of a brotherhood, because now you're not fighting against, oh, I'm getting more reps than him. Now it's more like, hey, Josh, go out there and get that 2 yards, man. Before we count on you, man. Like, it's more like that, you know. And I think that's what separates the teams and from the families, you know.
Man, I was watching during the SEC takeover. They replayed the Alabama game.
Mm-hmm.
You know you're going to get asked about the game for the rest of your life, right? You realize that?
I love that.
Good.
I love that.
The touchdown, the goal-to-go touchdown you had, where you were wrapped and kind of spun. You know, of course, you know, for the benefit of the audience who maybe don't. Like, is there something like you remember about that play, or that game, or the celebration, or the moment, like the whole thing that went? Because again, the rest of your life, people are going to ask you about that game. What's the first thing that's going to come to your mind when people ask you about that forever?
About that game? Definitely that block I made for Jaden. Definitely that block. Yeah, I would say that was something that we talked about in the running back room with Coach Frank, and he was saying like, hey, this is what the extra effort. This is what we need to do. This is what being going the extra mile looks like. And it wasn't our tape. It was somebody else that he had found, like some old tape of running back going downfield getting a block, and he introduced that to the beginning of the year. And I mean, every day at practice, he would have us running out. Like even if we wouldn't get the ball, have us running out. So as we got to the game, I mean, it was already kind of like second nature. Plus the timing of the game with it being so close and everything. So I had all the adrenaline in the world, and it was just a part of my whole deal at that point.
The touchdown, the celebration, the win, and you bring up a block.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
You realize how like unorthodox that is.
Yeah. I mean, but I take pride in blocks, though. I always have, because that's the only way I could get on the field. So like, I take pride in that stuff.
I have a feeling you're going to be on the field a lot more than just for that reason this year. A lot of expectations around the 2023 Tigers. Senior running back Josh Williams. Thanks for the time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That was Matt and LSU senior running back Josh Williams. Of course, Matt had an interview with all three LSU players, played it here for you on Monday. Thought we'd bring that one back for you here. He'll absolutely have an expanded role, as you heard them touch on there at the end of that interview, and definitely a valuable piece to what many believe will be a pretty impactful season for LSU football, pretty successful season for LSU football. In fact, you can go to the 104.5 ESPN Twitter and vote in today's Citizens Bank poll question of the day. It has to do with LSU's football season and a little bit of a win total, conference win total for the Tigers. So get over there. You can vote there at 1045 ESPN. We're going to wrap it up, come back on the other side, give you just a few overarching takeaways from the week at SEC Media Days, and then send you on your way here on a Thursday edition of AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel, two beautiful hotel properties in Baton Rouge, the Watermark downtown, the Renaissance Southtown right there on Bluebonnet. And when it comes to hosting your event, both the Watermark and the Renaissance are perfect. The Watermark is a gorgeous, elegant spot in downtown Baton Rouge. That wedding reception, that smaller gathering, that meeting space, they can do it. They've kept so much of the history and tradition of that iconic building while modernizing it. The Gregory is a great restaurant inside of the Watermark as well. And then, of course, the Renaissance Hotel, Southtown, right there on Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge. It's more modern. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous hotel property at the Renaissance Hotel, where they have meeting space that can accommodate up to 500 people, 7,000 square foot of meeting space, perfectly located right off of Bluebonnet and I-10. It's the Watermark and the Renaissance Hotels in Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Rev Business started small in 1935. We built our reputation by providing hometown service with Louisiana hustle. For nearly 90 years, we've expanded across our great state, through the swamps and across the Mississippi, bringing fiber optics from the capital to the North Shore and down the bayou to the coast, all to connect your business with the world. Rev is about big business technology with small business personal service. Powerful solutions, unmatched local service. Rev Business.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated.
Live from the 2023 SEC Football Media Days presented by Hudco Roofing. After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
All right, final segment here on a Thursday edition of After Further Review. Matt will be back in the chair tomorrow to wrap up the week in our normal fashion. He's on his way back now, actually, from Nashville, him and the rest of the crew. So we'll wrap up the week normally tomorrow. While we have a few minutes here, though, let's put one final button on SEC Media Days. Let's bring it full circle one more time, give you a few just overarching takeaways from the 4 days, from all 14 teams getting in front of the media, and really kicking off 2023 SEC football season. That's why this week is so great. It's why we all love it so much. I think there's a few things going into the week that we all expected to see and that we did. And I think one of them, especially locally, was I think we all expected to see a lot of love for LSU. And ultimately, you did. You sat here all week and heard everyone on the station tell you, and Matt definitely included, that LSU's probably going to be picked by the media to win the SEC West when we get those final votes tallied up, and that comes out tomorrow. That was a very overarching theme that I don't think many here, at least, are surprised, and many around the conference would be surprised about. I do think you saw a little bit more love for Alabama. I'm going to get to them momentarily, but another thing to keep in mind with LSU, it led off with Jaden Daniels every time. And again, you would expect that. He's the quarterback. He's coming off a great season. It's the most important position in all of team sports. When you look at the rest of the league, it's not as strong. But I think the main thing that makes the strongest case for Jaden Daniels being the best returning quarterback in the SEC, and I know you're going to hear a lot about KJ Jefferson, and it's totally understandable. But when I look at it and I say Jaden Daniels should be far and away the best returning, here's why. KJ Jefferson, great. Really, really good football player. Will Rogers could end up the record holder for passing everything, right, in the SEC. Both of those guys are going into new offensive systems this year. Jaden Daniels is not. He has been in it. Do you want to see him be more aggressive down the field? Absolutely. But everything else around him, system-wise, is the same. It is not for those other few guys, especially those that we mentioned. Carson Beck, sure, it is, but it'll be his first time. So loved that. With Alabama, for me, the quarterback situation is more in flux than I even kind of thought. And you could say, well, you haven't seen anybody play. How can you say that? Well, listening to everybody who covers that team echo it, and then what Nick Saban said. Because I think everyone who really covers Alabama said Jalen Milroe. It's probably going to be Jalen Milroe. But Tyler Buckner's there. And you hear that, and that makes sense. Nick Saban, when talking about the transfer portal, flat out said, we aren't going to get a transfer. If we go get a transfer, he needs to play. Tyler Buckner's a transfer. So you think he needs to play? That's going to be very interesting to see when you look at Alabama. That's going to wrap us up here today, here on After Further Review. Again, Matt is back tomorrow in the chair. We'll have Terrio, Riot Radio's hours. We'll wrap up the week how we normally do. That's tomorrow on Friday's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. That's theantiagingclinics.com. Remember, they always have great monthly specials. This month, over at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, take advantage of great pricing on Vaser Lipo. That is a procedure done by award-winning cosmetic surgeon, Dr. Todd Howell. The Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. Again, that's theantiagingclinics.com. Maybe it's something as simple as hormone replacement therapy. A blood test can let you know if you're a candidate for HRT. If you maybe struggle to fall asleep at night or stay asleep, maybe when you're awake you don't have as much energy, you don't get results in the gym, it could be an issue with hormones. HRT could be the solution. A simple blood test can let you know. Online, theantiagingclinics.com. That's theantiagingclinics.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales